I'm not on the stream, Derek. Oh, great. All right. Welcome back to the Greater Reset 4 co-creation. We're back from our lunch day on our final day. And one of the things that's so special about Community Day is being able to call upon the communities of the world, wherever you are out there. So this is our second segment for Activation Hubs throughout the week. And I want to introduce a very special community. From that's in Pennsylvania right now. And these people are very special to me because they're the first story I heard from the Freedom Soul Network, where they all found each other. They were several hours away, and they would continue to meet up in outside of the city every week, and they got to know each other and build these strong bonds. And now they have created such a huge community on their own. So we're about to play a clip from that, their organization, Daylight Rising. Let's get that on stream.
Oh, hi there, bud. Yeah, what made you get into it, though? I mean, you started this 2 years ago.
I did construction all through college, and we had 2 kids. And I said, I don't want them to eat what they're putting out in the grocery store. So I said, what better place to know that where your food's coming from than doing it yourself?
How many people you got working here with you?
Just my neighbor helps out. Other than that, it's me, and my wife will help out when she's not with the kids. With the customers, the ones that understand, I appreciate beyond belief. I mean, they are the lifeblood of our business. Like I said, I originally did it for our family, but now I'm trying to spread and make people aware of where their food comes from. I have competition that's just over the hill over there, but I look at them as a help, because I can't do everything, and trying to feed the nation, I mean, you can't do it by yourself. I put in 100-hour week almost every week, if not more. But it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make because I know exactly what you're going to get in the long run. But there's our chicken, eggs, beef, pork, it's exactly what I intend it to be. And I know, since I did it, that that's exactly what you're getting. Even I like to call it the O word, the organic. It's still chickens raised in a chicken house. They don't see the light of day, but they have access to the outdoors. Ours in the summertime, we run them outside from 3 to 4 weeks of age until processing. It's faith, then family, in that order, always. The deed's in my name, but it's not my land. This is God's country. He created this for us. I'm just trying to use it.
Hey, Daylight Rising, were you able to hear all that?
Yes, but it was cutting in and out. It didn't play the entire thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. We'll leave a link to the video on stream so you guys can watch. But that was essentially a showcase of everything they've been doing for the past year or two. Hey, I just want to welcome y'all. Wow, it looks like you have a pretty big party going on there. What's up, y'all?
Yes. Thank you for having us. I just wanted to explain what is going on today. So, of course, we followed the Activation Hub blueprint that you guys put up on the Greater Reset. We partnered up with local businesses to make this happen. So we're actually standing here in the Inner Peace and Wellness Center. Nancy, the owner, generously offered to host this party with us, and we partnered up with local businesses to also showcase and promote, because we could see over the last year and a half the blood, sweat, and tears that it goes into, running a business and in feeding, a community. So we are offering food here from a local farm to table restaurant called Farmhouse Kitchen. And we offered, the food is available at cost. We are promoting our friend, Farmer Pete at Eat Mo Greens, one of the hardest working men I've ever met in my life. Uncle Pete, yeah. And we have a Windswept Acres. Blake could not be here with us, but he is here in spirit. His energy just goes into so much of his farm, and I've used some of his products, and they're amazing. And I think that he deserves a shout out. And then a few of our community members are showcasing their wares. Right over here is Copper Clad showing his jewelry, and we're just kind of just spread out over here. Just promoting each other. And hello. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks like you've really brought in local creators from the community, and I really appreciate that. I remember when we were talking about this, we were talking about how much effort you were putting in to bringing in local communities, making sure fresh food was catered, and yeah, it looks like you've managed to connect everyone there. So I'm really happy to see that. Please tell us a little bit about what activities you have going on today.
Well, this is just a networking event here. We wanted to just promote the businesses that are in Berks County. So from the year and a half that I've personally been here, I've just been connecting and getting to know a lot of the people that make Berks County what it is. So we specifically wanted to highlight Pete. Go ahead. Yeah, we also are offering a raffle. We're also doing a raffle here, which is a highlight of the afternoon. The prizes are vouchers provided by the 3 farms that we have here, and one of the restaurants, the Farmhouse Kitchen, as well as the grand prize being a 2-in-1 refurbished laptop that runs Linux on it as a homage to Take Back Our Tech. So thank you, Ramiro, for the inspiration. And we're going to be announcing
everyone in that raffle. That's going to be a cool little pickup.
Yeah. And I also want to take the opportunity to shout out one of the speakers at the Greater Reset that joined you guys on day 2 at the Permaculture Day, Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus is a part of our community group here, Daylight Rising, and she's one of the primary reasons why we're here together. This is the second watch party that we're hosting here, and the first one, was her brainchild, and we kind of just made it happen, running an agora of sorts that had about 18 vendors last year. So we're picking up where she left off. She's there in Texas, and we wanted to just shout her out because we saw her stream live, and it was very inspiring. So thank you, Blue Lotus, for everything that you do, and I know you're watching us right now. We love you.
Oh, Jenny. That's the community that's come together over months and months and months of awesome bonds, awesome relationships. I've had the pleasure to join Daylight Rising, Manish, and Blue Lotus at the retreat center in Reading, Pennsylvania, and I know they know how to throw a good old-fashioned, organic, wholesome party. So awesome! I love what you guys are doing. I think this is the biggest watch party we've seen to date. So you guys win the record for TGR4. Maybe there'll be another prize on top of that. But I'm wishing you guys a beautiful rest of your time there. And let's get back to the second half of Community Day. And we're back.
Looking for a web host that supports your right to free speech? InnoScale is a cloud service provider that can run your next website, e-commerce site, whatever you want to publish on the internet. They're a self-funded company without outside influence and still provide a cutting-edge service with over 15 years of experience. They can handle all the technical stuff, letting you focus on what's most important to your organization or business. With automatic backups and seamless scaling, your sites will stay up all day, every day. If you're a software engineer, business person, or technologist looking to migrate your servers to a host that respects you, connect with InnoScale today. Check out their website and get more info at innoscale.net.
Central bank digital currencies are on the way. It's not a matter of if, but when. The only question that remains is, will you sit idly by while the CBDC system is erected all around you, or will you do everything in your power to opt out? I'm John Bush, and I've made it my life's work to help people just like you create real freedom in their lives. Now, generally, I'm an optimistic guy, but the CBDCs have me very concerned. But I got good news for you. February 6th through the 10th, I'm hosting the free CBDC Opt-Out Challenge. I'll be joined by special guests Derek Bros, Jack Spirko, and others.
And get this, we just added a couple more speakers to the lineup. We're going to be joined by James Corbett of CorbettReport.com and Richard Grove of Autonomy.
We'll provide you with concrete action items and strategies so you can opt out. So head on over to cbdcoptout.com and sign up for free today. The more of us that participate, the more successful we'll be. So go to cbdcoptout.com and together we'll opt out of the CBDCs.
Hey everyone, my name is Derek Bros. For the last 13 years, I've been an activist and a journalist, and I've been looking for freedom. I've been looking for community, trying to understand how to create a better world. And I've done so many different things to try to do this. I've done protests and rallies and marches. I even ran for mayor, thinking that maybe this was the way to create the world that I want. And over the years, I've come to see that it's not really going to lead to the change I want, that if I want to see change in the world, I need to be that change. I need to create it myself and live it and embody it. And so in 2016, I started thinking about this idea of creating an eco-village called the Conscious Agora. It would be built around the ideas of individual liberty, permaculture, and mindfulness, trying to create a better world, be better people, continually evolving as people all around. And I've been working on this idea for the last few years, but it wasn't till 2020 when my partner Miriam and I moved to Mexico that this project really took on its next phase.
Hola, my name is Miriam, and my desire to live in harmony with all life has led me to learn permaculture, to learn different healing modalities, and also organize community events like group meditations and yoga classes. Our decision to move to Mexico led us to Morelia, Michoacan, a beautiful mountainous region known for its vast bodies of water and its rich soils. This right here is where we found the land and future home of the Conscious Agora, filled with hills and springs and mountain water and delicious fruit trees. We fell in love. We looked for beautiful people who shared a similar vision. And for the last 2 years, we have been working together to strengthen that bond, that relationship. And now, these are the founding members of the Conscious Agora.
Hi, my name is Jess. Leading sea kayaking trips on the west coast of Canada gave me the opportunity to share my love for the wild and outdoor spaces and reconnect with nature. Now I'm excited to be part of this project, the Conscious Agora, that together with your help will live as an example of what's possible when we live in a holistic and symbiotic connection with the natural world and each other.
Hi, my name's Ethan, and I am super stoked to be a part of this project. We've got a beautiful piece of land here in mind. It's phenomenal. For the last 10, 12 years of my life, I've really been longing to be a participant in something like this that's focused on individual autonomy within community, as well as earth restoration and regenerative agricultural practices, permaculture, and all that kind of stuff. I've been into it for a number of years now, and I've been following Derek's work for about 5 years now, starting in 2018. When he put out the invite to participate in this, I was super excited. I was like, man, I got to get involved in that. So here I am. They welcomed me into the project. The vision that Derek and Miriam have outlined of building somewhat of a template or model for other communities to emulate and build from, that's very unique. There's nobody out there that I'm aware of doing this. So with your help, we can make that possible.
With your financial support, the Conscious Agora team will be able to complete the purchase of our land. From there, we will build the Holistic Education Center, which will be our home for teaching permaculture skills, natural building, self-defense, meditation, and other practical skills that you can use to empower yourself. Our long-term goal is to take all of the knowledge we gain and all of the information we have and share it with you, so you can create your own Conscious Agora where you live. Together, we can create a network of free communities focused on building a better world for coming generations.
Thank you for your support.
Because of you, the Conscious Agora is becoming a reality.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the Greater Reset 4 Co-Creation Community Day. I think it's so cool, all the amazing projects that our community is working on. And we're going from this abstract phase of, wouldn't it be cool if we could? And if we really want to have freedom, we should, and blah, 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 which is just up here, but we're getting our hands dirty and actually making this stuff happen. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm most definitely excited about what the future holds. I do want to thank another one of our gracious supporters. There's been a lot of talk through the week about alternative investment opportunities, because I think it's clear to many people, especially in this community, that Wall Street, that a lot of the retirement accounts, a lot of this is just a rat race. It's manipulated. And when it comes to the central bank digital currencies, a lot of this stuff can be taken away from us. So there are some opportunities that are real, that are based on sound principles. And there's one in particular that's held its value and stood the test of time for many, 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 many years. In fact, centuries. And that is gold and silver, precious metals. So I just want to thank Roberts and Roberts Brokerage Incorporated. I know there's folks in the audience here in Texas and Mexico and online that invest in precious metals, or maybe you're looking to get into that space. I highly encourage you to take physical possession of that gold and silver. And I highly encourage you to check out Roberts and Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, somebody that I've known since the 2008 Ron Paul campaign. There's a lot of trust built up. They've been in business for 40 years. You can check them out at rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co. So if you're already investing in precious metals, if you already got a guy, I highly encourage you to consider my guy, to consider our guy, a fellow freedom lover, Tim Fry over at Roberts and Roberts. Again, that's rrbi.co. Thank you so much. Let's take it back to Mexico.
All right. Thank you for that, John. How's everybody feeling after lunch? You guys still with us? Final afternoon session of the week. I really wish I wasn't saying that it's over tonight, because, you know, even though the event's over and a lot of us are starting to head home or different places, for those of you who are going back to where you live for the moment, this is really just the beginning. Does everybody get that? This is just the beginning. The actual work begins when you get home, wherever home is. Because if none of us actually incorporate the ideas we've learned over the last 5 days, then in 1 year, nothing will have changed. And for me personally, if we meet next year and we're just starting to meet just to gather for the sake of gathering, and we're not actually exiting and building and becoming more free, then I don't know if I would put this much effort into hosting this event. You know, I put this much effort because I know and I believe that the more we take action in our lives and our health, technology, spirituality, building community, food, the more we do that, the more we get closer to the world that we know is possible. Does that make sense to you guys? So that's what we're here to do, and I hope we'll continue to do that. Well, let's get on with our next speakers. I'm really excited because the rest of the evening, both Texas and Mexico, we have some really solid speakers that are actually doing the things that we know you want to do. And I'm proud to have some local Mexican speakers here who are sharing their knowledge, so that we're building those bridges between the expat community and the local community. So please welcome my friend Alma to the stage. Make some noise for Alma, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Do you can put the presentation, please? Okay. I am Alma Barajas. I am soil scientist, but I prefer call me by myself a student of the Mother Earth. You know, the land have all the time something for learning us every season, every month. And I want to show you this in the beginning. We want to have a biobuilding workshop in Casa Condor from the 24th to 26th. If you want to come with us, please go to the store table with Belegui in front of the bathroom of woman's bathroom, and for more information. Let's go to the talk. Today, I want to talk with you about the next one, please. Soil development of factors, passion as a factor in development, coexistence, agreements, and I will give one example. And members in our community, growing food, and something about Rancho Sicaida. Okay, the next one, please. Self-development factors are organisms that it should be the most important factor with organisms is the type of vegetation. Also climb, have some information, put some information in the soil. Topography, so if we have a flat area, the soil are really different that if we have step properties. Parent material, such as the rock, the mother rocks, and also the time influence the types of the soil. And well, and the human action have some important information in all this formation process. And next one. And well, I want to say other thing that the time is really important because we need to be patient to develop our paradise communities for having the best soil fertility, for growing our food. In the way we need to be patient and also with the other members of our communities, we need to be patient. And Joe Major says, passion is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while you're waiting. And what we need to wait? Well, for having 1 centimeter of soil, we need wait 1000 years to make 1 centimeter of soil. You know, it's a long time, and because first we will have the rocks, and these rocks put some vegetation in. Well, in this time is in the natural way, so the plants come into this in these rocks and then put some organic material, and we need to have a lot of time for have the best soils in our lands. Okay, and the next one. So the patience is a good attitude when we are growing food, when we are developing our food gardens, because we need to observe what I have and where I want to be in 1 year, or after the summer, or after the rainy season. We need to go back to take time for us and our process. About the food, we can start with easy growing food that could be spinach, beet, cress, marigold, and some medicinal plants like rosemary or lavender. And in the and then when we have experience, we can grow other food like carrots, tomatoes, onions. I recommend you check what do you eat in, and and start with the easy crops. Mhm. And the next one, please. Well, about communities, what we need to wait, why we need to be patient with another person, and the synonym, the synonym is very close. Beauty for me. The answer is foresee how the people bloom, and the passion and respectful about personal paths make solid trunks. And these trunks support the fruits. When we are living in a community, we need to have coexistence agreement. Sometimes it's easy to be in agreement, and well, and sometimes not. And in this graphics, I want to show you uh, depends of the number of in the community, in depends of the number of the members in a community. It could be more complexly take some agreements. If we are in a community with 5 people, like us, we living in Rancho Sicaida now, so we are only 5, so it's less complex taking agreements. And if we have a community with 20 members, it could be more complex. And well, here I have one example about how we take agreement for decision that for a new members in the ranch. And so the first step was we decide, take call for a meeting, for a meet, and everyone was interested and said their personal opinions. Um, the second step was say, well, I first say that I don't want to have this or that. I don't want to have drama in my life. And then when we think, we think about the infrastructures. Well, we need to have rooms for everyone. We need to have a biggest refrigerator, and then we say, okay, we need to talk about also what we want to want one we want to have around us. So we say proaction people, good listeners, actively open-minded, desire to learn, and have ideas that change. Well, so if we want to have action around us, we also need to think about the responsibility activities. And here, so if we have a smaller number of members, the members have more activities for do. And if everyone understands the proaction, everyone will have co-responsibilities around the specific projects. And about the projects, if you are interested and your intuition tells you do it, believe in you and your possibilities. I love growing my food. And here I show you my meal path of the 2020. And well, in January 2020, I was working in a national commission of take care of the environmental in Mexico City. So when I come to Casa Condor here in Morelia in the spring of 2020, the food garden had been abandoned for 3 years. The grass was big, the soil was dry. Fortunately, I have the green remaining soil because we was building dry toilet in the garden. So when we building this toilet, we reminded some soils. So and we don't use it at all. So I take it this for growing my milpa. And if you, we can go back in the presentation. If you look with attention, I only have 50 centimeters with soil, and then I have a flat area with cement. So a lot of persons tell me that, oh, you cannot grow your food there because it's only 15 centimeters, you know? And I say, okay, I can listen to you, but I want to do it. I believe that we can do it. So I put my energy for doing that this worked. And so, and the next photo, please, the next page. So I do it. I do it with 50 centimeters depth. And well, with this experience, I want to remark the message of other speakers that believe in you, believe in your projects. If the people want to talk and they want to talk, so you take the action, reflect the beauty inside you, reflected in your food garden, and growing our food is one of the steps to be freedom. So the corn, well, here I show you the pumpkin on the milpa. So I enjoy my personal food, and and well, and here is the corn in the milpa. Also, I collect these ones in dryness weight, but also I eat them a lot of in fresh weight. So, and well, I we want to have a healthy food, healthy life. For that, I have some gifts for us. If you are interested, I make some bombs, some seed bombs for everyone that is interested for growing food. I will to give you in the end of this season in front of the woman bathroom in the Belegi table store. So come, please, for take it. And well, and in this seeds boom, you will have milk pie in your hands with seeds from Casa Condor. And you will we have corn, beans, chili, and pumpkin. And also you will have some medicinal plants that is basil. And I want to talk about a little bit about Rancho Cicada too. So um, the next one, please. Yes, we are growing our food. We are building our homes. And we are meditating a lot. So I want to let you know that we will have a meditation retreat in March. And we will have a possible workshop for natural building in May. So keep in touch. And I want to say thanks, guys, for, oh, I feel a little bit crying because for me, my first Great Reset was the last year, and I moved here to court, and now I'm living in an eco village, you know, and for me it's like a dreaming true. So I am, thanks. I feel so grateful with these people that believe in us, believe take the control that when what do you want to have in our lives. And thank you, David, thank you, Kurt, for being my tribe. So thanks. And well, where do you can find us? The next one, please. And you can find us in Instagram, Telegram, and our emails are there. So if you are interested with more information, please let me know, write me, and that's it, I think. And if you have some question about soils or about how we doing something in our communities, please let me know. Maybe we have time for 2 questions or 3. What do you think, guys? Ramiro, Derek? Okay. Somebody want to ask something?
Does anybody have any questions?
There. Okay. Okay. We have 3. Okay.
First of all, thank you for sharing and talking. Of all the plants that you've grown, which one is your favorite?
Well, my favorite plant is really interesting question because I have a lot of that. So I I I prefer the well I prefer integrity. You know, I prefer have more like only one plant because we need have diversity in our food gardens for have fertility in our soil. So for that, I like to work with Hanamargo, and I think in English is Hanamaro. And this plant put nitrogen in our soils. I like the corn because the corn have a lot of information for us because in these days we are talking about how we can return to the earth, mother earth, and in my point of view we can return eating healthy food, and we can restart or NDA, ADN, DNA, sorry, DNA, we can restart it or DNA with food. So if we eat corn, nopal, beans, we can reconnect it with our ancestor information. So for that, I prefer the milpa for have healthy food and more information in our body. And the other question? Okay. Okay.
Make some noise for our presentation. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. Gracias. Yes, we have such talented people within our community, don't we? I've said this for years. I realized this when I was back in Houston doing a lot of organizing, that everything we need is already existing within our community. Some people just haven't met yet, right? We haven't connected the right people to each other. I think Ramiro was saying earlier that John and myself are connectors, and I definitely feel that way sometimes. Here at this event, I'm seeing circles cross-pollinating that haven't met before, and it's really beautiful. People that I know from one area or others I've met in this way, and watching them come together and seeing magical things come from that it's really special. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for being with us. We're going to roll right into our next speaker, which is another one of our locals here from Mexico who has so much passion. And I want to tell you about the success stories, and his is one of these success stories as we get him on here. I just heard from somebody out in the lobby. They said, I watched the Greater Reset watch party. I went to the Greater Reset watch party in Philadelphia with our last activation hub that we just showed with Ramiro a little bit ago. She went there, met some people, and then decided, you know what, I'm going in person next year. I'm coming to Mexico. And that's just how it can happen. And this gentleman that we're about to bring up here, Miguel, he went to the Greater Reset 1. Anybody at the Greater Reset 1 in Ziwa? I know we've grown a lot since then, but shout out to everybody who's been with us since the beginning. He went there, he got activated, he got motivated, and decided it was time to implement these ideas. Then he started working on projects, organizing himself. Now he's got land and he's building a community, and he's going to tell you guys all about that and so much more. Please welcome Miguel Pina. All right, come on down.
Hi, how are you? Let me introduce myself. My name is Miguel. I'm a Mexican. I think we are here, no? How many Mexicans are here? Good. I like that. I feel like home. Um, yeah, I don't know if I can call right now a success story. Oh, I'm trying to do something, and I hope every one of you are doing the same. Um, the thing is, how easy is to build a community in normal life? Who had the skills? Who teach you to make a community? Do you plan? I'm a 47-year male Mexican with a wife, 2 kids, and being in business, being a worker. But it wasn't in my plan to become community builder. Anyone that feel like? Yes? Oh, okay. Well, my trip begins 2 years ago when I saw something was failing. I don't know if you feel the same. In the middle of the lockdowns, you can see that nothing is working. You are looking for something. What's that we are looking? For me, is bonding. Bonding with people. Sorry, probably I'm gonna cry at the beginning. That's my way of letting you know you are important for me, for my kids, for whatever is coming. Yes, I'm an emotional guy. I'm proud of that. Well, I think that's all. From the emotional part, let's talk business. The thing is, I understand you. Probably better than you think. Building a community in Mexico is really interesting. For me, there are three parts or three kind of people trying to build a community here in Mexico. First one are the locals. I'm not a local. I'm a Mexican, but I am not a local. I'm going to explain, but right now, follow me. Second, the internationals, the international community. That's why I'm speaking in English, because I want to contact you. You are part of that. Mostly of people seeing this on internet or here or in Texas or wherever you are part of that international community. And you are seeing Mexico as an opportunity to build something different. Yep. And there's a third kind of people. And this is, I call city Mexicans. Yeah. I'm that. I'm a city Mexican. If you try to speak to a Mexican that lives in a city, he doesn't understand the Great Reset agenda. He says, oh, the local government is going to kill us. We're going for communism. The main problem of Mexicans, of city Mexicans, are local problems. They don't see the bigger picture. And that's a problem. If you want to make a community here, you need to get linked with locals. That's the number one thing you need to do. They know the land. They know the usual customs. That's really important. That, for me, it was a learning process. I moved from a really comfortable city in the middle of Mexico called Querétaro, and I moved to Nayarit in the middle of the jungle. I don't know about the jungle. I can tell you something. There are a lot of bugs. A lot. There are a lot of ants. And you hear in the night sounds that you never have heard anywhere. Well, that's my, I only sharing my experience. And that's all. Everything else is keep trying and looking for something different. And I'm old school, and I bring some props because I want you to keep your mind open. Because what we're trying to do is not in any book. I had a book here from Daniel Quinn. You know him? The Ishmael guy. I think this was his last book. It's called Beyond Civilization. He talks about tribes and how they really good they are and how they work. But they say that when you are in the middle of the problem, you cannot see the answer. And we are in the middle of the problem. You are the ones that are opening the eyes, but there's not an answer. We are building it. That's the interesting thing. And he said that when the Dark Ages was in the middle, if you talk to someone and said, after this is going to come the Renaissance, they said, no, we're killing each other. We cannot have access to books, to information. How? The Renaissance? Well, we're in the middle of that. Probably a second Renaissance. But we're in the middle of the problem. And communities are the only way to get linked again, to get bonded. And for that, I'm going to use my props. Do you know a guy, Lebanon guy from Lebanon called Nassim Taleb? He's a guy that invented the concept of black swan. You know? A black swan is something that you never think it can be possible, and then it happens. Where we're living in the middle of that. No? How a lot of foreigners see Mexico as a paradise. That's a black swan. Ask a Mexican. We are in hell. We live in hell. Mostly city Mexicans said, you are in the middle of the hell, and you are choosing to do that. That's a black swan. You are a black swan. And I appreciate that you are here. From my bottom of my heart. This guy has a concept more important. And he was explaining that we don't teach our kids, our families in the right way because we don't understand risk. They say that we are really high risk. Usually we don't get it until it happens. And he said that risk is linked to fragility. And let me show you my first piece of this thing. And if I show you this, this is a sphere, a crystal sphere. How fragile is this? If I'm broken right now, can I do it again as the way it is? No, this is really, really fragile. No? Imagine the one that you put in a Christmas tree and it broke. You cannot get it back. This is fragility. If I say this is really, really fragile, what is the opposite? No, you'll read the book. No. The thing is, mostly anti-fragile is the right answer, but they usually said strong, resilient. And that's not opposite. Imagine a line where fragility is 10. The opposite will be 10 minus, not 0. This is another sphere. This is plastic. It doesn't break, but this is not anti-fragile. Anti-fragile is my next prop. Imagine this is a sphere. I tried to do it, but this is ice and this is water. This is anti-fragile. I can use a flame and become this a liquid, no? And then I can put more heat and then become steam. And then I can put it again in a fridge and have another sphere again. The most easiest way to explain anti-fragility is water, because it's the most important thing for life. If you have water and you understand water, you probably will understand the concept that I want to share you about communities. The most important concept that I want you to get in your head today is the only anti-fragile social group is building communities. But there's a task, and this is the most profound learning I have in the last 2 years. To become an anti-fragile community, you need to be multicultural communities. If you want to be an expat community with all English spoken and usual customs, you are in a really bad place, because here in Mexico, you will be an easy target. That I learned, because I'm an easy target. I not look like a local where I'm living right now. You need to get linked and bonded to the locals. But they need you. You have knowledge that most communities don't have. And they need it, because people are coming to Mexico to build a different kind of living. And that's the important thing. So I'm going to share some things that you probably are thinking that can protect you in Mexico. I'm going to give you at the end 5 points that are going to protect you if you are building communities in Mexico. But first, I'm going to tell you what is the biggest risk, then you are not fragile. Law doesn't protect you in Mexico. Law. Any law don't protect you in Mexico. If you want to buy something and have a deed, you can feel protected, but you are not protected. I hope you understand it, because this is important. Institutions, authorities don't protect you. If you call a policeman, probably you are in a really bad situation. If you want the government to be involved in anything regarding your community, that's not the way. I understand this because where I am, I have approached a lot of foreigners looking to buy land, cheap land in Mexico. Someone interested? The problem is cheap land has a lot of small, little things that can go wrong. And in the end, have a lot of problems. Companies, let's build companies in Mexico. Companies cannot protect you here. You get it? For those that are building communities, what I'm sharing, does it sound right? Or I'm saying something that is not right? And well, we are here because we don't like governments, any part of the world. But probably what I'm trying to say is Mexico has experience. We haven't been supported by government at least for the last 40 years. But we don't know what is going to happen. Some things are going to change really fast here. Bad guys, call it whatever you want to probably take some small towns, some ranches. How you are going to protect that? Everything changed when I approach this and I see long faces. I'm going to give you what you need to do. Easy. But I need to feel that I'm sharing the right knowledge. Because I need that everyone here trying to build a community success. because I don't see how these communities that I'm going to call you the right way, it's transitional communities. That's the way that we need to name it, because no one had experience of building communities in Mexico. Any community that you are seeing right now is a transitional community. Probably in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, we are building this community 2.0. But right now, we need to be as humble as we can to see that we are learning. We need to be anti-fragile as water. Is the only way to succeed. Yeah? You get it? Number one thing that you need for being protected in a community. Location. It looks like a marketing, location, location, location. Here in Mexico, it's really important where is your community. There are parts of Mexico really, really, really dangerous. They are all, what the best for me is the ones that are forget it. I think that's the right way to put it, where no one has any value. And location means that you need to be linked to something, to a market where you can make commercial values. That's really important. That is going to be the guide of your community. You think? Second thing is access. Let me tell you a story. I know a guy, really, really rich guy. He owns, they say, like 2,000 hectares in the north of Mexico. It's from the last highway to his ranch is an 8-hour road. He has a small airport. He usually gets. That's for me the only way that you can be protected. And also he has a pipeline of gas inside his land. But if you are not in that position, isolation is not an option. Access is the most important thing. And access doesn't mean that you need to be isolated. If you only have a way of entering and a way of getting out, that's a protection. And if you can control that, you are in a better position. Local integration. That's the number 3. If you can have help from people that are from your local community and get bonded with your project, that's another protection. The protection that I see in my community is when you approach or when you get in, they usually feel that you are invading, that you are not trust. You are too soberbio. Yeah, like a conquistador. Yeah. But no, it's like making people that you are better than them. You need to get bonded, because when things get really bad, they're going to say, this is a nice gringo. Leave it there. And then the fourth thing you need to know, you control the narrative of your community. If you want to be a really successful thing and get everyone knows, I think you have a risk. But if you have an intentional community of hippies, probably everyone is going to leave you alone. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, that's a narrative. That's probably what is important for you. You can share it with your community, but narrative is what you approach to the outside world. And the number 5 recommendation, knowledge. The problem is we approach with all the skills we have, all the community we have, and we want to put it in the land and produce something. But knowledge comes only by living where you are going to live. You need to understand your land. You need to know your land. If you need to, I don't know why, but you need to go at 3 o'clock in the morning because you have a problem and you need to go without a lamp or any light, you need to know and feel comfortable there. That knowledge is the most important thing, and that only is if you know your land. No one else is going to learn that for you. Let me tell you a story why I'm using this. In New Year's Eve, we have a celebration, and one of my partner's sons got bite by an alacran, scorpion, at 3 a.m. And he had a nasty, it wasn't that bad, but we didn't know. He has some breathing problems, and we need to go at 3 a.m. in a vehicle in 4 kilometers road, not a good one, but we knew that we can manage that problem. That's the only protection, the real protection that you can have. Saying this is the important part of my message. First, that you are important. Second, not all Mexicans get it. Get it? The ones that get it are important for you. If in your community is a city Mexican that is linked and he understands, that's a really valuable thing because he understands both sides. Locals understands problems, but there are local problems as jobs, payments. That's normal there. But they know the land. And you, as an international community, you can bring peace to areas that had been broken in the past. And that's your task. That's what I'm asking for you. Try it. Instead of building an intentional community really tied with ecosystems and sustainability. No, sustainability. No. Regenerative or net zero, be easier because we want more people living in communities. That's what a transitional community means. We need to have more, not less. We are not the ones that have the prize. We are only showing the way. That's my message. I hope it helped you. And thank you for being here. Welcome to Mexico, to everyone. I want to give a really meaningful thanks to Derek and John Ramiro, because this is only possible because of what they are seeing in their head and in their heart. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing from your heart, brother. All right, make some noise for Miguel sharing from his heart. These are the kind of beautiful people that me and Miriam have been meeting the last couple years that we've been in Mexico. We're so grateful, so blessed, and so honored for all the beautiful people here that we've met. And yeah, John, I'll toss it back to you for a moment.
Okay, thanks there, Mr. Derek. I just want to thank the speakers and the locals and the folks from South America, Central America that you've brought. And I'm going to share in broken Spanish, and I want to encourage everyone that doesn't know a second language to learn one. But I want to, muchas gracias para los presentadores de México que aprenden el idioma de inglés. Es muy importante que gente en Texas y gente en México aprende otras lenguas, y es muy importante que construyen conexiones con la gente en los pueblos y la gente de los otros países. So, gracias. Muchas gracias. My mother's family is from Mexico. What is it? Near Mexico City. I forget the name of this state. No, not Cuernavaca. Guanajuato. So, it's in mi sangre, Mexico. It's a beautiful place to be. Okay, so we have a little bit of time here before our next presenter, and I just wanted to remind you guys, right? Somebody was saying Derek and I are connectors, which I really appreciate. Well, Derek and I created a tool that anyone in the world, no matter what country you live in, We even translated the website into multiple different languages, not just English and Spanish, a whole slew of languages. Anyone in the world can connect with other freedom lovers using this tool. That tool is the Freedom Cell Network. We've been talking about it quite a bit. Well, today is Community Day, and it is a perfect match for this day. We're talking about intentional communities. We're talking about the power of people coming together. It's really all about strength in numbers. So for those of you watching online, for those of you in Texas, for those of you in Mexico, I highly encourage you, if you have not yet, to join the Freedom Cell Network. It's apps. Can we pull up those languages again there and see what we got going on? We got German, Alemana, Portuguese, Dutch, Spanish. Wow. We picked some of the most popular languages so we could reach as many people as possible. So we've heard time and time again from folks that the Freedom Cell Network literally changed their lives. And Derek, you had said there was someone that you spoke with recently that basically brought you to tears by how impacted they were by this network. Maybe we can hear from them if that's possible. But I want to encourage you, two things. One, if you're not on the network yet, please do join. You know, this whole Freedom Cell idea just came into my head, right? And I put it out to the world, and thankfully it really resonated with Derek, and Derek helped to turn it into a real world network, right? And the cool thing about Derek and his conscious resistance is it's not just about activism and politics and blah, 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 and freedom. There's a spiritual component too. And something that Derek says that really stuck with me is, if revolution without healing is a recipe for disaster, he says, right? So if we manage, which would be a pretty tall task, but if we manage to uproot government as the major institution in society for organizing humans, and we haven't done that inner work, we're simply going to recreate the same problems that we're so opposed to right now. But I say that to share that Derek, and myself, and just conscious people, we're the ones that are spearheading the Freedom Cell Network. And as a result, we're attracting people like that, people like those of you in this audience. So I want to encourage you to join this network, because the people that are a part of this network are a very special bunch of human beings. They're not just in this for themselves. They're not just in this to fight against the system. They're not in this as an outlet for their rage and their anger. They're in this to change the world. And they're people that don't just care about themselves. They care about human beings that aren't even born yet. Okay, so two things. One, if you're not in the network, please join. Two, if you are in the network, please become more active and more involved. Because I get a feeling people are like, all right, I joined on the network. I feel good about myself now. I'm doing my part. We need more people to lead meetings. You know, there's this phenomenon that happens often where people are like, you know, I joined the network and put myself on the Freedom Cells map, and nobody's doing anything. What's up with that, Derek? Well, we need you guys to be leaders and you guys to take the bull by the horns. So just a quick bit of advice. If you happen to be in an area where there's not a lot of activity on the Freedom Cell Network, I highly encourage you to be the change you wish to see in the Freedom Cell Network and to host a meeting. And if you host meetings, oftentimes online, you know, online talk is cheap. I used to do a lot of political organizing. We had this expression like, one handshake is worth 10 emails, is worth 100 phone calls. No, one handshake is worth 10 phone calls, is worth 100 emails. Everybody emails. Email's cheap. And it's easy for people to ignore emails. But a phone call, ring, 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 you know, it's kind of hard to ignore that. I guess they still can, but you go knock on somebody's door. Hey, have you heard about Ron Paul running for president? He's a libertarian. We're going to end the Fed and the wars, blah, blah, blah. It really makes a big difference. So when you start a Freedom Cell group, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'm on board. I'm in your group. I'm on the Telegram group. For example, in Central Texas, we have like 750 people on the Central Texas Freedom Cell Network group. They never show up. There's a core cadre of, I'd say about 60 to 100 people, an even tighter cadre of about 20 people that show up. And most of them are volunteering for this event right now. Those are the kind of people that I want in my network. So online activities, kind of cheap. a number or a username, especially if it's not somebody's real name, is pretty cheap as well. What really matters is showing up in person. And as a leader, it's up to you to create opportunities for people to show up. Now, if you're like, we're going to host a meeting, nobody shows up, persistence. So when it comes to success, I think persistence is perhaps one of the most important things, because there's so many people that try, they hit a brick wall, and then they give up. But if you keep pushing, right? Like I got this business, Live Free Academy. We got Brave Botanicals. We're starting a real estate investment fund. A lot of you guys don't know about the graveyard of businesses and organizations that John Bush has in his history. And those were a lot of really struggling opportunities for me and a lot of hardship. In fact, one of the businesses I used to operate failed, and my entire community turned against me because they blamed me for it failing. I take responsibility for the role that I played, but that was really hard. And it wasn't just like, oh my God, I'm in poverty, my marriage is failing, but now all these people in my community hate me. I could have given up at that point, but I didn't. I persisted, and I'm so grateful that I did, because here I am, and here we all together, right? So I want to encourage you guys, if you host your meeting and nobody shows up, organize another one. And of course, what do you say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if you host a meeting and it's just going to be us talking at a coffee shop, maybe switch it up and say, hey, who wants to go bowling? Or maybe we could go to happy hour. Or maybe I'm hosting a workshop, or I found some cool guy that teaches permaculture or whatever. The point is, we need everybody in this room to get activated and to participate. We can't grow the network on our own. And I highly, 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 highly believe that this network, this group of people working together to create more freedom in their lives, is going to play a pivotal role in the transition from centralization, coercion, despair, manipulation, forcing people to do things they don't want to do, to a beautiful world where human beings live in harmony. And in order to engage in business, or in order to have any type of relationship, you have to produce some kind of value to the other person. That's really what it's all about. We're trying to create a world based on mutually beneficial, voluntary relationships. And the Freedom Cell Network, in my opinion, is how we're going to do it. So please join freedomcells.org. If you're already a part of the network, then I encourage you to get more active and to help us go from 37,000 to 370,000. It's not freedomcells.com. When I bought the URL freedomcells.org, I should have bought freedomcells.net, freedomcells.info, and freedomcells.com, because some jerk patriot guy, we got to bring the Democrats to their knees and let's help overcome voter fraud. This guy bought freedomcells.com and uses like imagery similar to ours. I'm going to sue him. No, I'm just kidding. Now, don't go to freedomcells.com, freedomcells.org. You'll see. All right. I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule. So, Derek, if you got anything to share, Lord knows I can continue talking all day till we're all blue in the face. You got something in the back? We're not going to be able to hear you on the stream, so maybe run up here. He's yelling at us. Is there a way to set up a Freedom Cells profile so that emails me when I get a message on there? Yes, there's a setting where you can receive a notification when someone contacts you on the Freedom Cell website. I just want to recognize Ramiro, right? Ramiro's doing incredible work to equip us with the technology that allows us to meet up together in real life. So let's give it up for Ramiro and the work that he's done improving the Freedom Cells website.
All right, John, thank you for that. We are ready to go to our next speaker. I'll just kind of pick up where you left off, though, as far as Freedom Cells, and encourage everybody, yes, please do join freedomcells.org. As John said, we are not freedomcells.com. That is something totally else completely. You can go check it out if you want. Do not give whoever that is your email. I would not recommend that. Well, we are freedomcells.org. What he didn't mention, and I don't think we've mentioned yet this week, is we relaunched the website a few months back, and this is, of course, based off money we raised at the Greater Reset 3 to help Ramiro and his team build this new website. And we made the maps better, easier to find people. The main feature is really the map. So we explained how you can, you find other like-minded people, but really it's the maps. You go there, if you're looking for people in your area, you search the maps, you can find members or groups that are existing in your area. And then also we recently added an Agora page, which is our sort of listings classified section. So you can go there and list your services, your businesses. If you offer, if you accept crypto or gold or barter or other things, you're welcome to list that. You also can list dating ads as well on there. So this is all a part of the community there. So there's a lot of good stuff happening, the Agora, the maps, the overall network. And if you wanted to, you could use it like a social network. We do not encourage that. This is not a place to post about politics. And in fact, if we can go to the first page, Ramiro, the homepage, I encourage everybody who wants to know more, because we're not going to spend all their time on this. We're the people behind the Greater Reset. We want you to understand about it. But on the homepage, when you're not logged in, I guess, on the very front homepage, it explains the principles that the network's based on, which is being apolitical, decentralized, nonviolent. So you can see right here, all the different, go down a little further, please. You can read more about the history of the Freedom Cell Network, because we want you to understand what we're trying to build and why it's important to us. So this is not a place to come post about your favorite political candidate or to post about the scary conspiracy theory of the week. This is a place to come organize, to find people in your community. And even the website doesn't ultimately matter, or the Telegram groups, because there is a local Morelia Freedom Cell. I invite those who are here local who plan to stay to join it. If you're just here visiting, please don't join it. But it's a place, it's just a filter. These groups on the website or on Telegram or wherever your group organizes, they're just a filter. So we have a public face. We say, hey, we're doing a potluck at my and Miriam's house. Come by. We see who shows up. We get to know them, see who we get along with and who we want to work with on bigger goals. And maybe that means going out and doing activism, passing out flyers, or building a garden, or things like that, right? So the Telegrams and the website are just a filter. You have a public face, you host meetings, and that brings people out. You get to know each other. And then from there, you set goals and organize. That's the whole idea. And this is broken down much more on our website, but also in my book, How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State, which you can purchase here in person, or you can download for free at my website, theconsciousresistance.com/how-to. It's being published in Spanish, German, and I just signed a deal for it to be translated to Japanese as well. So that's kind of cool. And as John said, the website is in all those different languages, because we are really focused on building a worldwide movement. We don't want this to just be an English-speaking America, Canada, Australia, UK thing. We want this to be truly international everywhere. And so to do that, all those languages as well were translated by volunteers from the Freedom Cell Network. That's the beautiful thing, is we have all these skills within the broader network. So use it, go there, contribute your skills, your ideas, organize in your community. And again, if you go to the website, there's also a page that says Telegram cells, because a lot of people organize on Telegram and it links to some of there. I encourage you to have a group on whatever platform you want, Telegram or other messaging apps, but also our website, because we can't necessarily depend on those platforms on being there forever, right? So imagine your Telegram group or whatever Facebook group got censored, you still have a home on the Freedom Cells website to organize and to post your meetings. Use the community calendar, use it. It's built for you and it's for free. All right, guys. Okay, we got our next speaker, which this is actually going to be our final in-person speaker of the evening. We're going to end today with a really awesome panel from some of the speakers from Texas and some of our great speakers here in Mexico. And I do want to say tonight here in person, we're having a concert happening from 6:30 to 11 p.m. There's going to be a bunch of musical performers. There was a show last night. Who made it to that concert last night? I know some of you did. I see some of you nursing hangovers. So I heard there was a really awesome performance from 33. I wasn't there, but I heard it was really great. So I'm going to check it out tonight. We'll see how good it goes. I encourage you to stick around. And yes, again, thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you to Miguel, to Amma, and every one of our other speakers. This speaker is somebody that I met last year while I was on tour. Miriam and I did the Mexico activation tour. And just so many people are doing great things in Mexico and all around the world. But I think that they need more attention. And please give this man your attention, because he's a brilliant mind. Mariano Gorin, come to the stage, brother. Yes, make some noise for him. Huh? Okay, let me check.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I like that. Let's see. Oh, this is not going to work here. Can I have the? Yeah. Share. Remember pop that up? Let's share it. Yeah. Okay, no, I will do this because it's already on. There you go. Thank you. All right. So first of all, how are we in the death by PowerPoint scale? Can I see some movements or claps? Something? Yeah, okay. They're still alive. That's good. All right. So what I want to talk to you today is about my last few years experience and principally the last year experience working with ARCA self-sufficient villages. What we are doing is to create a network of self-sufficient villages by acquiring farms and ranches to then integrate regenerative technologies and obviously a real estate development. If you want to know more about that, you have the address here, arca.land. All right. So I come from this 25 years love story with technology. I started, back in the 90s, playing with code, playing with HTML, and ended up working with these big brands, financial mostly, doing design of complex tools, most of them financials. And also, because I think that design is a transformative tool for humanity, also working in this kind of, let's change the world together projects. So this one, you can still see or get a working version of this one. It was called Democracy OS, and it's now called Democracia OS. And it's basically a software for open government. So basically, the idea was that we were giving the opportunity to citizens to participate in legislative politics. So basically, the citizens were able to vote and discuss the project of laws that the legislators were proposing. Another one was this Sistema D. Basically, this one was a digital ID by blockchain. So basically, this was the totally private version of what the Davos crowd wants to get us to get. And the idea was that this was integrated with a rewards system. So basically, if you haven't had any kind of document provided by the state, you can either way get this, share your own identity with the people that you want, and obviously use this as a tool for getting these rewards and basically connecting with other people from the network. The last one was Nirva that I wanted to share here. This was a blockchain tool. Basically, the idea was to provide financial literacy for people. At the same time that you learn how to invest, you can invest in blockchain, in cryptos. So that was the idea. But basically, when I started this amazing journey with technology, I discovered that this digital nomad thing, this is amazing. I can travel, know the world. I started doing this from 2006 2020. I was traveling, all over the world, living in Bali, Australia, Barcelona, and doing my stuff, with digital design. I actually moved more than 60 times in this period. And, here we go. So basically, I was living, a dream life here. I was living in communal spaces known as co-living spaces. Who knows co-living spaces from here? Okay, not so many, good. So basically, these are big houses, in which you have private bathroom in the best case. In the worst case, you don't get a private bathroom. But the idea is that you get to learn how to live in a community, and sharing and what are the pros and cons of that kind of life. But then, 2020 came, and that was a big change. I was back at that time in Santiago de Chile, and it was really difficult. Who has this experience of feeling like in Nazi Germany during 2020? Okay, there are a few. Okay, so yeah, in Santiago de Chile, that was very bad because basically you had to ask permission to the police to go to the supermarket, and they will allow you twice a week, 2 hours each time. So basically, I said, okay, clearly this is not the kind of place that I want, and this is not the kind of society in which I want to be involved in. And I got depressed, obviously. I guess that most of us got in that situation if we were isolated. And that was, for me, a moment in which I said, okay, so basically things are changing in the world and I can do something about it. For starters, I will leave Santiago de Chile. And then I don't know if you ever heard of this company, Research. It's an amazing company. They deliver intelligence reports about second passports, how to relocate internationally, how to internationalize your finances. And they sent this amazing report that was saying, hey man, here you can go and you're going to be free. So I moved here to this amazing, amazing place, Mexico. I landed down in Playa del Carmen, and I discovered this amazing, amazing crowd there. It was pretty interesting that seemed like the Riviera Maya was once again receiving all the exiles from all parts of the world. So that happened back in the Toltecs days, when basically the military Toltecs were displacing the priests, and then the priests decided to come down to the south and to the east. And then, this was the dividing line for me. Meta was announced. So when I saw the presentation, I was like, I think that I saw this in a movie, like The Matrix. Yeah, it's pretty similar. And then, I saw this. We chart, the different, the different things that they have ready for us. And I will not go deep into this because these last few days we have a lot of information regarding this. But what I understood was that, the things were changing, and basically the people that was in charge and own all the technology and basically everything that we know as the Western world were going to do something about that. And basically they were going to put a paywall. So basically, if you want to access all of these amazing things that we have for you, okay, you will have to do something for us. So I started thinking, okay, I'm now in Mexico, this is amazing, but clearly there are things that are going to be changing. And I started thinking about, this digital ID thing. So basically, the government wants you to do something, and you need to do that in order to access society. But how about when I need to enter my digital ID to log into internet, to basically do my job, earn my bread? And unfortunately, who knows Max Egan from here? Yay. Can we give a round of applause? Thanks a lot. Yeah, so basically Max Egan broke this news a few weeks ago. So basically by 2027, this scenario is going to become real. And we will need to enter our digital ID to log in. So that was pretty bad. But there were also real life implications for that. And I started thinking, okay, I cannot log in into the internet. I will not be able to be a designer. And then how about, living in cities, which I love, obviously. So I don't know if you ever heard about this 15-minute cities idea. Yeah? All right. So basically, this is basically the neo-feudal reorganization of society. So, back in the day, we had these different feuds that were, owned by, dukes or whatever. And nowadays, we are going to see a rehearsal of that, or re-rehearsal of that, in the way of these 15-minute cities. Basically, it's taking a big city and dividing it into districts. And maybe you cannot go to this district because you are not so good citizen. And maybe, if you go to this other place, we are going to deduct some points from your digital ID. But, this became really, really grave when I saw, these 5G enabled LED lights. So, I said in this tweet that I like it more, the killer robot on the right, because it was clearly a killer robot. It's there to kill you. Has weapons, it's aiming at you. That's pretty simple. But on the side of the LED lights, you don't see that. They seem, harmful, not harmful. So basically, when you start seeing what are the things that these lights have, you start thinking about it again. So basically, these lights are equipped with sonar, LiDAR, they have a radar, they have a face recognition technology, and you start saying, hey, why these lights need so much information? And then you go to the Wikipedia and search for LED incapacitators. I don't know if anyone here knows about this technology. Okay, so basically, this is a flashlight that goes into random pulses, and basically it creates vomit in you. So basically, you start vomiting without control. Have you seen the lights of the police here? You know, the LED lights are very strong, and they are bad for you, even, the common lights, without flashing in this randomized sequence. But when you get this, basically, you get incapacitated, or even worse, die. But, this guy, when I was researching this, you can see there that this guy has these yellow lenses on. So basically, seems like that can dim the effects. So quick tip there. But basically, what I understood is that if I want to continue being a free thinker, a critical thinker, I will not be able to stay in the cities for long. These are going to become these places guarded by lights. It's very crazy. So I said, okay, this is a great opportunity to rethink everything in my life. Obviously, this 25 years love story with technology was coming to an end. But, and this is important, what I started thinking is that, it doesn't matter what happens to you, it's how you take it. And this is, one slide that I don't know where I got it, but it's amazing, so thank you for the creator. So basically, your God power is in your ability to assign meaning as a human being. So it's always about how you, see things. So basically, all things in your life can be good or bad. It depends how you take it. So all things can be read from the victim or the protagonist's perspective. And this was the moment in which I said, okay, so basically, yeah, this is not the ideal situation, obviously, but I have so many things to learn from this. So, at the same time that I was trying to get my head around this, I started researching, okay, where to go when shit hits the fan, And in my research, I was really trying to find something that was not there. Honestly, it was not there. And I said, this is weird because clearly the end of this way of life, the Westerner way of life, is going to bring another, several different ways of life to replace that. And, why is there's no one doing this? This is very weird. Oh, probably because it's really difficult, And then I said, yeah, this is probably a good business opportunity, but I don't know anything about the industry. I always built things in the digital realm. And I said, yeah, perfect, basically. A great opportunity to learn new things, and recreate myself. It's going. Yay. Okay, it seems like it went out of sync, but yeah. All right. There you go. So my thought, and the basic thought that the foundational thought for initiating ARCA was, okay, basically if you're not creating a culture, you're following other person's culture. And I said, okay, this is a good place to start, basically. Yeah, it seems like it goes here, but not there. Okay. So what made communities thrive, what made communities fail, that was the line of research that I started. Being a designer, I'm able to do that. And I started thinking, okay, basically what we have here is a new opportunity to create, this communal way of living. But, I had these old, really bad experiences in the past, like communism, kibbutz. None of them worked. And I started talking with people, making some interviews to understand this. And I also discovered the work of Ivan Illich. I don't know who knows him. Yay, he's great. He has influenced me so much. I recommend that you check him out if you are in any way trying to form a community. So basically, what I did later, are we done with that? I'm gonna put it back on. Here. Yeah. So just to understand where, I'm gonna try and pull it back up. Okay. So basically, I understood that the path moving forward was something that was not communism, for sure. But, I tried to understand what things worked and what things haven't worked. Okay. Oh, hello. I see myself. Just a second, peeps.
All right, you can put it back up, Ramiro.
Because this is an important part. That is why I wanted the screen. Yeah, can we applaud? No, but let's give it for the team. Come on, this is an amazing event. Thanks a lot, guys. This has been great. All right. So after my research, what I started thinking is, okay, so basically there are different things that you have to have in mind when you're trying to create this culture. And I came with this convivial layers framework that you see here. So if obviously we are not going to have enough time to go all over it, all over the points here. Let me see if I can. Yay. So basically, we are not going to have time for this, but if I see some interest on this, I will publish this as a self-analysis guide. So let's see if this works. So all of these things are the things that you should be thinking of when you are planning to move somewhere else. And more in this, situation that we are in, which we have to think in other things that we haven't thought in the past. So let's see if I can do this. Yay. Almost there. Yay. Okay, there you go. Yeah, don't tell me anything about the QR code. I know. It's ironic, but okay. So basically, if I see some interest here, I will send this to the list. A description, a better description of all the points that I was mentioning. But what I want to do now is to share this one thing that I believe is the key to a civilization of your own design, which is network curation. So basically, why? Why to invest your time in creating a network? These three things are going to be very clear for you, I guess. The first one is the fragility of the human being. We don't have fangs, we don't have a thick skin that allows us to defend against several opponents. So basically, that is a no-no option in a bad situation. So basically, the upper hand will always be with the group. The second one is that the humans have a very limited attention span. So basically, as humans, we can only pay attention to one thing at the same time. I don't care what Gen Z says about this, only one thing at the same time. And basically, that is why we have the division of work, right? The idea is that we can do our stuff individually and then trade. And third is that resourcefulness can be a very bad thing in a crisis situation because you become a target, basically. So my perspective here is that the quality and quantity of your real social network is going to determine your family quality of life from now on. And that is why, I think it's so important to develop one, and I want to share this with you. Basically, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to have all the resources. You just need to know the right people. So here we go. I will give you this case study of Arca Club. So this is basically the project that we are doing in the Riviera Maya. And I want to share my experience because it's going to be easier to give you ideas on how to start yours. So let's go there. The goal for this strategy is to create this network of talent, skills, and friends, after all, and resources, obviously, that you can tap in any time. This is doesn't matter that the world ends or not. you get this amazing network around you. And the 3 steps that I want to propose are: first, to define your avatar; second, to create opportunities to connect; and the third is to foster the network connections. Let's go right away with the first one. There you go. All right, to define your avatar. So an avatar is like a condensation of characteristics. It's like to, write a character, and a character from a novel or something like that. But the idea here is that you start thinking really deeply in what is the kind of people that you want around you in this time, in the next few years. So what I would share here is the segmentation that we did in ARCA. So basically, we have 2 different kinds of people. One are the dynamizers, which are younger people that bring the vibrance to the community. They are interested in shared spaces, in staying 6 months maybe in the village per year. And then we have the rooters, which are older people that want to be left alone. And basically they want the same things, but they want to for them to be adapted to their current moment in their lives. Second would be the filtering process. This is super, super important. So basically, by organizing the events that we've been doing in the Riviera Maya, I got to know, these a lot of scammers, basically. So you will need to make some kind of process or something to separate the chaff from the wheat. And I would recommend here 2 different things. The first one is to do this, intuitive Google search. So basically, you search the name of the person, the last name, and scammer, whatever, and you will get some results probably. And then the second thing, which is very important, is this 16 personalities test. I don't know if you ever heard of this. It's amazing. Basically, do it for yourself. You're going to be surprised. The site is 16personalities.com. And that takes more time. It's like 2 hours to complete the full questionnaire, but it will give you very clear guidelines on what is that people made of. And the third one, who are the key people in your network? So I don't know if you see there, but there's the Freedom Cells Network website. So I will, please subscribe if you haven't. And basically, this is important because it will give you, this catalog of people that is in the same line of thinking. And from there on, you can start bringing the people that is more connected to you or more like-minded to you to your more private group. Also here is very important to identify what are the characteristics of the people that will be needed for you and your family as providers. So for example, I will share here what we are going to do with Arca Club from now on, because this is, an evolving startup. And are going to be the services that we are going to start serving our members with. So the first one is what we are already doing, which is a monthly event. This goes on the last Tuesday of each month. And, it's sharing some food, sharing some drinks, talks, obviously people connect in these events. And it's pretty amazing by itself. Second, club calendar event. This would be, like a Google shared calendar in which all the members can put their own events and maybe even consult what other people is doing. So in this manner, you get this group of friends that can join you everywhere. Third is Telegram group, pretty straightforward, communication between peers. And fourth, vetted directory of providers. And this one is very important. So basically, I heard yesterday an amazing speaker that was saying, we live in a time in which we are drowning in information. So basically, what is really valuable nowadays is to have this curated, catered information, really catered to your audience. So what we are going to do here is to aggregate all the information about, for example, food providers around the Riviera Maya, health providers, also mentors for your kids, for example. That is one need that I've seen a lot in the Riviera Maya. So basically list all the mentors. Also, we are trying to list in this in this section the scammers, because you want your people to be aware of the bad people around. And the idea is that all of these should be reviewed by the same peers that compose this network. So basically, if someone has a bad experience with someone, can leave a message, and you don't have to go over that again. Then the two last things that we are going to offer as part of Arca Club, probably this is not going to fit your model, but we're going to offer first pick in any property that we do. That is the first thing. And the second thing is a discount over the price of the purchase. All right. Third, foster network connections. So this is going to be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You can build a network, but if no one is using it, you don't have anything there. So basically, the idea is that you start, for example, replacing the purchases that you do in the supermarket. So instead of buying the meat from the supermarket, you go and try to find, organic farmer or someone that can provide you that same good without, giving money to the supermarkets or big brands. Second would be evaluate opportunities for bulk purchases. This is pretty straightforward too. The idea is that once you get this network, you can start trying to pile up efforts and do things, reduce cost, timeshare. There are infinity of things to do there. And the last one is introduce members of the network. This can be, if you detect that someone has a need of something and the person that can solve it, you introduce that person. Maybe you introduce persons to, I don't know, make babies, maybe. That would work too. So we're reaching the end now. Okay. So what I believe is that we are heading into this situation in which, we see this bifurcation of society. And I honestly, I would say that I know that the most important thing is to get these people to share, these times. Basically, it's not the hard times, but the people that you will have around that will help you, move toward this and actually create the best future for you and your family. And to end up, I want to finish off with this quote, which is that we have to redesign our present to get to the future that we want. And we do this by basically changing our perspective of reality, seeing things through this lens of positivity and knowing that things are going to be great at the end. Thanks a lot for your attention. Thanks a lot for the organizers. And I hope that we can create this larger network in the future. So thanks a lot.
Make some more noise for him, please, everybody. Come on. He is one of my favorite awesome people doing great work. Thank you, brother. Thank you. All right. Yeah, we're going to continue on. I think we're going to cut back to Texas. Well, actually, we're going to hear from one of our sponsors real quick, and we'll go back to Texas. Let's do that. I think we're going to a sponsor.
The Greater Reset is graciously sponsored by Texas Ready, offering the finest non-GMO, non-hybrid seeds on the market. Find them online at texasready.net. If there's one resolution all of us at the Greater Reset want you to make this year, it's this: grow your own food. Even just a little bit makes a massive difference in your health, prosperity, freedom, and food security. It's one of the easiest, low-cost, and most effective ways to reclaim your sovereignty. And for a limited time only, when you buy any seed bank from Texas Ready, you'll receive one free pack of Texas Ready Trace Elements, a $25 value. This special offer ends when the Greater Reset ends, Sunday, January 22nd at 5 p.m. Central. So if you're looking to start a garden and you'd like the best seeds, soil nutrients, and advanced gardening knowledge money can buy, check out Texas Ready today at texasready.net.
Yep. All right. Texas Ready, texasready.net. Okay, I have a couple more sponsors to share. If I get everybody's attention, please. And I just wanted to say something because, you know, this might sound creepy. I have eyes and ears out there. But anyway, you know, I hear from people in my circle that, and I hear directly when people reply to my emails, boy, that John Bush just promotes too much and it's too salesy and it's always marketing. He's always trying to sell me something. First of all, you got to understand that when I hear that feedback, it lets me know that I'm doing an appropriate level of marketing, promotion, and selling. Because in order to do what I have sought out to do, it's going to take a lot of money. This event takes a lot of money. Buying 100-acre properties and turning them into regenerative agriculture paradises takes a lot of money. Creating political autonomy and self-governance for our entire community is going to take a lot of money. So I just want to throw that out there. And just to echo what JP Sear says, last night he was like, when they censored me, I thought, what does that say about me? Why does that trigger me so much? It's because he realized it's because he had some approval issue his whole life. He wanted people to approve him. So if you're offended or if it triggers you because we're saying all these sponsors and John Bush sends so many promotional marketing emails, maybe it says something about you deep inside that you could explore and the relationship someone has with money. I'm just throwing that out there. And now I want to thank a couple more sponsors that make all of this possible. Strategic Home Defense, our good friend Stephen File. We're super excited to have them in our community. Former law enforcement that are taking the knowledge they learned on the force and helping you to protect your home. You can sign up for a free consultation at strategichomedefense.com, strategichomedefense.com. And of course, Glenn Meter spoke with us on Privacy and Decentralized Tech Day, Glenn Meter's Privacy Action Plan. Check out Glenn Meter's Privacy Action Plan, privacyactionplan.com. And he has a special Greater Reset code. I'll send you guys the links. We'll be emailing you as well about all that stuff. At least on the Greater Reset Freedom Cells email list, we're a little more conservative with the emails, but I love each and every one of you, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys for helping to make this event as possible as well. Thank you. Okay, without further ado, we are going to hear again from Mike Cobb. Mike spoke to the Texas audience during lunch, but we're really excited to have him present to the world the online stream in Mexico. He's doing a lot of great stuff in South and Central America, and he's a great speaker too. Mike Cobb, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right. My apologies to the folks here in Texas because you're going to hear some of this stuff again. But, you know, the one thing I would suggest is I don't know how many folks entered to win a free week in Belize or Nicaragua. I encourage you to do it. You can either hit the QR code if you have it in front of you on this form, or you can just send us an email to info@ecidevelopment.com. We're going to do a drawing tomorrow, and you'll be notified by email 1 week, either in Nicaragua or Belize, winner's choice. So that's coming up. All right, so we're going to run through some of the same information again. Just consider it a review of very, very important information. We know that we can only remember about 10% of what we hear, and so this is a chance to hear something very, very important again. There really is a world of options. I know that many of us are domestic. You know, we're here, we're looking at options inside the United States. Many of you here in Texas, I think that's wise, prudent. And for many people, it's not an or, it's an and, right? You have your solution here in the United States, and you have a plan B outside the United States, because we don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know how this collapse could happen and what would happen if it did happen. And having alternatives and plan C's maybe are always wise and prudent. So I would encourage you to at least take a look at something overseas and put that into the possibility realm. Whether you pull the trigger or not, maybe, maybe not, right? But at least consider it, at least understand it. And if we do that, then we also need to understand that when we're looking at property overseas, by the way, for the folks on the video and down in Mexico, it was absolutely incredible. About half the folks here in Texas either owned property overseas or were considering owning property overseas. The U.S. statistic is actually 11.6%, so 1 out of 10. But here it was 1 out of 2. And I'm guessing that for the folks watching this online, that's probably a very similar type of ratio. A lot of people are looking at owning property overseas as a plan B. But when we're looking at property overseas, what I've found in 29 years of working in this business is there are 2 reasons people look for property overseas. They're either running from something or they're running towards something. And the critical reason is the running from, right? And we know what we're running from, a train wreck of debt. I mean, the Fed, all the craziness, train wreck of freedom. I mean, and imposing on us everything that we don't want to have happen to ourselves and our families. And the sad reality is that when a train wreck happens, we really only have three choices, right? We can enjoy the ride, which I don't think any of us are going to do. We can catch that last train out, which we talked about, and people here chuckled, right? You don't want to be that guy. You don't have to be that guy, right? You can be on the train, and that's the most important point of this whole presentation is because we're here, because we're conscious, we're paying attention, we have intentionality, we can actually have a seat inside that train, right? We don't have to hang on the outside. We're getting to the party early. Let's take advantage of our prescience and our knowledge and use the wisdom that we're gaining to be able to take advantage of this world of options. And you know, the critical reason is to run from something, but I actually like this reason even better, right? Running towards something, right? And we're running towards great things, whether it's fun activities. And this is the stuff that draws people in. This is the reason people love to go down to, you know, the tropics or whatever to have a vacation. All these fun, exciting things that we can do when we get there. This is what gets us excited. And this is what, unfortunately, also lets us make mistakes, right? Because we're so excited, we turn off our rational brain. And the next thing you know, we're making mistakes. We're not understanding that we're in the world of buyer beware. We've left seller beware to buyer beware, and all of a sudden it's a different environment. We're so excited, and we understand sales. I mean, John's up here talking about being promotional and being sales. Great sales is all about emotional transference, right? And that's what happens. We go on vacation, we go to these places, we're excited, we do silly things. I'm not gonna say stupid things, but sometimes they are, right? But we just need to understand that we're moving into a different world. And when we do that, right, we need to have different information. We need to change how we think. And this consumer resource guide, which you will get a copy of if you send us an email, this will help you change how you think. Change how we think. That is really the key. And the bottom line is, you know, we just don't understand how, you know, you could go to a beautiful condominium or home and it has, you know, nice fixtures, but it's just cold water running throughout the entire home, right? So these are the kinds of things that we have to pay attention to. This is how we get a copy of the report. And I hope that many of you will please request this. And if you're looking for property overseas someday, maybe you'll reach out to me, maybe you won't. But if you have this in your back pocket, you'll be very, very glad you did. So, John, thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing many of you all south of the border.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. Get it for Mike Cobb, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. All right, ecidevelopment.com, ecidevelopment.com. Mike is one of the sponsors of this event, and we just confirmed he's going to speak at the Exit and Build Land Summit, which is right in alignment with the work that he's doing. And we're excited to partner with him on the next Greater Reset, which we're teasing the name. I think we let it slip a couple times, but we'll announce it sooner than later. And I hope you guys will join us again, because this has been pretty incredible, huh? Yeah. All right. It's always hard leading up to it. It's like a really big challenge getting things together and the logistics and all that. And then once we start, I'm always like, ah. And then the second relief point is when we wrap up. Ah. But then we got to break down. It's all worth it, guys. We really are appreciative for the opportunity to present you guys with this information. And we wouldn't be able to do it without you all being here. You guys are the reason for the season. So I'm really excited to invite our next speaker to the stage. She's somebody that I know very, very well. She's a very positive human being. She has been a wonderful influence on my life. She's been a wonderful influence for my kids. You know, the couple of times ago, one of the places she used to work, they had a nickname for her. It was Pinkie Pie. So the My Little Pony folks, there's a name for men that like My Little Pony. It's like Brony or something. Brony. Yeah. They're like, yeah, we know My Little Pony. Her nickname was Pinkie Pie. And in case you aren't familiar with My Little Pony, like I am because of my daughter, Pinkie Pie was the super happy, pleasant, elated, always cheerful, and happy and fun. And that's what Rebecca is, really. When she is talking to people, when she's in a room, she very much lights it up. She has a very magnetic personality. And when I met her, I was really attracted to the fact that she has big, ambitious goals too. One of her goals was to rid the world of the electric grid, right? And I never noticed it. You notice all these power lines all over? Those don't have to be there. There's technology to overcome that kind of stuff, right? She's absolutely incredible. We're really excited to hear from her some really practical, tactical strategies when it comes to building intentional community. Give it up for Rebecca Bush, ladies and gentlemen. Pinkie Pie. Yeah, sure. Do you want to hold it?
The laptop?
The microphone?
Oh, yeah.
You're good. All right, we'll get
Sorry, that'll be kind of heavy. Hey, y'all. How's everyone doing? My name's Rebecca Bush. I am, I guess, in a sense, the co-producer of the Greater Reset here in Central Texas. I'm co-owner of Live Free Academy with my husband, John Bush, who I'm sure you all know by now. And I'm just so grateful to be here today, and I'm really excited to share with you about community. It's what I'm most passionate about. I know I just said, the companies I work with now, but actually a year ago, like literally 1 year ago to this day, pretty much, I put in my 2 weeks notice. It was the week of the Greater Reset in 2022. I put in my 2 week notice and not really knowing how everything was going to pan out. I was working full time as a sales and customer care manager at Village Farm Agrihood, a neighborhood around agriculture. You could say it was my dream job. I mean, I imagined that I would stick through to the end of that development. I had 170 tiny home lot locations surrounding a certified organic farm. There was an amphitheater, a general store, a bistro, all these cool things in the site plan. We really created some beautiful things together. And everyone thought I was crazy when I put my 2 week notice in, like, why would you leave? But the truth is, like, especially when the pandemic happened, there was this huge sense of urgency. Like, I needed to be doing this work. Like, I needed to get back to activism. I needed to get back to building community in a broader sense. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So, vamonos. My talk is co-creating community in the 21st century. Yeah, and so you might ask yourself, like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what does that look like? We are actually doing it right now. How, might you ask? Well, we're here. We're at the Greater Reset. We have amazing in-person attendance here in Central Texas. I'm sure Mexico had great turnout as well. And how cool is that, by the way, that we have 2 locations where we're putting events on? We're either crazy or we're crazy. Yes, we're definitely crazy. But you know what? Crazy people change the world. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to make a difference. We're here to come together. And we're doing it in person and we're doing it virtually. So that's what I think is so cool about this event. We've got the online element, like no barrier to entry. Literally anybody can watch from the comfort of their own home. We've got activation hubs all over the world. People can come together with folks in their area, stream it, have a really good time, eat some popcorn while they watch the presentations. And what I believe is even more magical is the in-person element, because raise your hand if you've made some great connections over the last 5 days. Right? Okay, I think every single hand is raised right now. I know I have, and I know that, these events are what we need right now in order to connect, in order to build, and in order to create something so beautiful that it makes the existing model obsolete. So that is why we're all here. And here in person, I know I was like really proud of myself for that cool little circle transition. So I didn't want to miss my moment there. But before I get through to the rest of the slides, I just wanted to take a moment for a gratitude check, because talk about co-creating community in the 21st century. We all came together in this room, whether you're an attendee, a VIP, a vendor, a sponsor. The volunteers, honestly, are the unsung heroes. We have had such amazing support from our local community. We have had people working so tirelessly to help make this event come to life. And I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who's here, but also everyone who's volunteered. And like the way we organize is through this app called Telegram. So it's kind of funny how, we just can send a message in a second. Oh, I need help at registration, or, oh, we need help with this in the back. And, there's always someone there to show up because we all just truly care about this cause, care about one another. And I included this image about gratitude and well-being because I think, when it comes to being healthy and being happy, like when you have that inner gratitude where you just can feel your connection with others and you are like genuinely, like you have compersion, like you're happy when they're happy. And like, that's what I believe community is all about. It's about being there for others and in turn being there for yourself. And there's a huge sense of like self fulfillment when you're working alongside one another. And it's really special. And to me, I think, intentional community, that's like at its core is coming together, connecting with others. So thank you everyone who's volunteered. Thank you everyone who has traveled so far to be here. And thank you everyone else. We are all just in this together, and it truly does take a village. So thank you for being here at the Greater Reset. So, whatever it is you're really passionate about, like everyone has, I believe, unique gifts. Everyone is a genius in their own right. Like when I was helping out with the Agrohood, I saw just with my own eyes how cool it was to live in a village where everyone truly had something unique to bring to the table. Like the gardeners, the farmers, they all had a knowledge and a just information to pass along to all the other residents who would come out and volunteer and show up and want to learn. Like beekeeping, Bruce the beekeeper and James, like you can feel the enthusiasm ooze out of their bodies when they're talking about beekeeping. Like we all have something special that we're really passionate about. And I think it's good to reflect on what that is for you so that you can, really show up strong for yourself, for your community, and pursue your highest, purpose on this planet. So yeah, for me, I mean, I have asked myself this question like so many times, but I have been obsessed. Like when I say obsessed, I mean like it's probably an unhealthy obsession. Yeah. So, but Grant Cardone says be obsessed or be average. So I definitely don't want to be average. So I'm obsessed with intentional community. And I mean, there's a lot of probably things in my past that have led to this, but I'm going to touch on kind of just really tapping into your calling and like feeling what it is that like when you wake up in the morning, you're like excited because you want to go do that work, So for me, I think a lot of it has to do with like how I was raised. So for the first 10 years of my life, I was traveling like every 2 or 3 years we were moving. And in between that traveling, going to different schools, I was a military brat. Not as extreme as this meme, but I do feel that it, everyone like talks about what it's like being a veteran and being in the military, but there's not a lot of whispers and talk about what it's like to be a family member of a parent who's in the military. So I'm grateful for these experiences because it actually, before I even knew what intentional community was, I was living it by growing up on military bases. Because when you abandon your family and you're living in Germany for 3 years and you don't speak the language, the people on the military base with you are your family. Like it's multicultural, it's so diverse. And what we all had in common was that we had parents who were in the military and like we became so close. And even though like we would have to move, and we can relate to one another, what it's like to move a lot and to have to start over and to be nervous and scared. But then to like find that love and connection with all the people you're around and then to lose it again. Oh, like just crazy first decade of my life. But I wouldn't have it any other way because it taught me a lot about diversity and about being open-minded. And most importantly, I do believe that's why I'm so passionate about intentional community because I know what it feels like to feel connected and to feel just radiant love for the people around you, which fast forward about 10 years after all that ended, I ended up moving to Indiana. And we stayed there for a whole decade and it was awful. But like, nothing against Indiana, but like everything that I liked about, being a military and all brat and all of this got thrown out the window, and I got thrown right in to the suburb mainstream society. And it was like a culture shock because, I got thrown into public school and I adjusted like pretty well, I guess. But, there's like this culture, at least in America, I don't know what it's like in Europe, where you like come home, put the garage door down, don't talk to your neighbors, and just like mind your own business. And it's like rugged individualism to a point that you're like kind of lonely and depressed and like, I've lived next to you for like how many years and I don't know you. But no, I mean, in Indiana, the neighborhood I was in, it was like we had friends and things like that. I'm not trying to put my childhood experience there down, but it was just a lot different. I started to see more of what it's like with all the fast food chains and with mainstream culture obsessed with like materialism and consuming things and my house is bigger than your house and all that weird stuff. I don't know if that happens everywhere in the world, but in America there was kind of, or at least in Indiana, there was kind of that thing going on. And I mean, just this culture of like, bye, Felicia, like, I don't want to talk to you, get out of my face, like, I'm doing my own thing. So, like, it kind of led me to wonder, like, how did we get here as a species? Like, we had evolved for so many centuries to like live in tribe and have unique skill sets that we could offer the village. Like, I'm the bread maker, I'm the gardener, I'm this, I'm the nurse, I'm this, I'm that. And now it just seemed like we didn't know who made our food. We didn't know just there wasn't that like sense of connection and closeness anymore. Everyone kind of, it seems nowadays too, we're trying to get back to the way things used to be, but there's like a disconnect from the food you eat, who grows it, and just everything in between. And I think like a lot of the problems nowadays have really stemmed from depression and loneliness and that lack of connection to one another. So, unfortunately, then leading to addiction to your phone, addiction to substances, and this like downward vortex spiral of awfulness. So, like, how do we overcome that? So basically, when I was like, I guess 17, I left the house and I was like, dear tight-knit community life that I experienced the first 10 years of my life, I miss you. I want to come back to that. So like, how do I get back to the land? How do I get back to having a community where I know everyone's first name and we're really close? So I decided to leave Indiana. I was like a rebellious teenager, like I'm going, and I had 300 schools I could choose from. There's like a student exchange in college. They let you pay the same tuition as you would at the school, in your state or whatever. So I was like feeling pretty excited about this opportunity. I looked all over the country and Austin, Texas just really drew me in. Like it was very, just reading and researching, very artsy, and the Edwards Aquifer. But what it really was, I think that had me hooked on, yes, Texas, that's the place I'm going to go, was that spirit of connection here. Like the Texans will wave their flag higher than the United States flag. And they're like, I'm a Texan. There's just like pride here that you don't get elsewhere. And I found that very interesting. But, ultimately I ended up moving to San Marcos, Texas. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt like I belonged and I felt home. And that like said a lot to me because I never had that feeling before where you're in a place and you just like fall in love with it and you finally feel like that's where you belong. And I feel that in Central Texas. Like there's something really special here energetically. The water here, the spring-fed rivers. They say, San Marcos is like one of the longest perpetually inhabited places in all of North America. Like that's for a reason. Like it's special. It's a gem. And I'm going to talk later about the San Marcos River. I'm also going to talk about the electric grid. I know John brought that up. But anyway, I digress. So I really, really liked it here, and so I just stayed. And while I was here in Texas, in San Marcos, they had like the largest Young Americans for Liberty chapter in the country at that time. And this was like during the Ron Paul revolution. So I felt like I found that intentional community I was looking for. Like I'd go to these meetups every Thursday, our Young Americans for Liberty chapter, and we'd have like 80 to 100 people at the meetings. So like moving to Texas, you might think, oh, you're going to be all alone. You don't have friends. But I made friends like instantly once I started to go to Young Americans for Liberty, group meetings. And that's kind of how I got into all of this anarchist libertarian world, was really through that. And I really felt like I had found my tribe. Like, these people get it, because you're learning about the two-party system and Republicans and Democrats. Like, I always was like a critical thinker, like, well, I'm not this or that. Like, what do you mean? I kind of like that. I kind of like this aspect. Like, can it be purple instead of red and blue? Like, come on. So anyway, I really, really felt like I found the people that I was meant to be around. And through that, this is when I had my light bulb moment. I learned about something called Paulville. This is also in Texas. It never ended up happening, unfortunately. But the idea was, what if we get a bunch of people together who all agree with Ron Paul's ideology, and we start our own city in West Texas? Yeehaw, let's go. But the thing is, like, no offense to West Texas, but there's not a whole lot going on there. And anyway, it ended up slipping through the cracks. But the seed was planted in my mind. And I knew in that moment that I wasn't meant to do public policy work. I wasn't meant to work on campaigns, which is basically what I was doing up until this point. I was meant to pursue a replicable model for eco-village development so that we could have micro, macro communities all across the world, do it in style, save money, have connection to our neighbors, have connection to the food that we eat, and do more with less, and living more in alignment with nature. So that is when I discovered the solution in my mind. But the thing is, like, the only thing I had ever grown before this point was like tomatoes in the summer. So I had a lot of learning to do. So I joined this nonprofit called the Center for Natural Living, and I would just start putting on eco-village seminars and hoping that people would show up. And I moved out to a 50-acre property and learned a lot from my mentor, Erica, about permaculture. I had never even heard of permaculture until then. I think. I don't really remember when I discovered permaculture, but it was later after the libertarian ideas. But it all connected, because permanent culture, you have to have all of these elements, this holistic approach for all of these ideas to be implemented into the physical realm. So I just started doing things that I, wanted to learn about, like building with cob, and I'd go to the farmers markets and, try out all the different local vendors. And like, up until this point, I had never had a real carrot. Like, I think I was like 22 when I had my first bite of an actual carrot. Like, that wasn't, those little baby carrots that they bleach bath or whatever. Like, that's all that I had had up until this point. And when I actually had a real carrot, like with the little green stem thing on it still, and like there was like dirt on it and stuff, I felt like I had been lied to my entire life. And that's when I was like, okay, this is whatever they're serving in Walmart and the other grocery stores is not even like food. Like, this is life changing. I felt like in the Aladdin movie where they're like, a whole new world, it's like, oh my God, there's a better way to do things. So whatever, I was just like, okay, I'm going to go put myself out there and start learning about these things. I went to South by Southwest and went to the first 3D printed home site, which is in Austin, Texas, and just started to learn about alternative living and, tiny homes and growing your own food. And I went over to Community First. That's where that geodesic dome greenhouse is. That's a tiny home community that houses the formerly homeless. And they have jobs for them and opportunities. And there's a state-of-the-art woodworking set up on the community. There's and they make things in-house. It's so cool. Restaurants, a cafeteria, just visiting these places. This is when it all started to really become real to me, because before this, I just had that, utopia idea of like Paulville, but like seeing this in person and experiencing it, and like, it just brings it, it comes to you at a different, like, realistically, where the people are already doing it. We just need to like mobilize all the people, get the land, like, let's make this happen. So then I started to utilize the virtual world and like, where else can I visit? And I found that IC.org, the Foundation for Intentional Communities, they have already done all the work for us. How cool is that? They have a directory of all the intentional communities. Some intentional communities aren't on there because they haven't added themselves to the directory yet, but it literally will break down like, are they accepting new members? Do they have dietary restrictions? Like, if you're a vegan, for instance, a vegan community, clearly you're going to have values against, people probably, I don't want to assume, but they probably wouldn't want like you to slaughter animals there, so they just kind of line out all the important things, spirituality, all of these details that are like important to know if that's the community that you should join. But at the very least, you can visit. But it doesn't stop there, because intentional communities can be eco villages, but eco villages are also their own thing because they're more closely aligned with like actually having structures that are built that are like off the grid, or they're like not built in the conventional traditional building method that would cause some sort of harm to the environment. Like they're more environmentally conscious. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, ecovillage.org. The Global Eco Village Network is another online directory that exists. And they also, both of these organizations put on workshops, events, all sorts of things. So that kind of got the gears turning for me. And I actually started visiting communities, Arco Santi in Arizona. I went to the Venus Project in Florida. Wow. So cool. Like the architecture, everything Jacques Fresco created, and like he put it into molds and ideas and books and all these things and resources. But like his vision, so cool for his, futuristic cities, and just amazing. So there's agri-hoods also, like the neighborhood I was explaining to you earlier that I helped with. There's agri-hoods now all over the place. So these are neighborhoods surrounding agriculture. So I visited one of the most famous, which is in Arizona, called Agritopia. And I mean, anyone can go check it out. It's so cool. It looks like a traditional housing development, but at its core is like a 12-acre farm, and it has a CSA, a community supported agriculture program. There's a store where you can walk in and pick up what you want to buy and just check out on your own. Like they basically trust, and there's that community element. So it's really a cool place to visit. So like after visiting some of these places, it got the gears turning for me. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, okay, you don't have to live this lifestyle full time. You can be a part of community, living in an eco village or an intentional community if you want to. But there's so many other ways to do it, like even joining the Freedom Cell Network, for instance, and having that connection with folks online. Like you're still part of a community. So I put together the next few slides to kind of hodgepodge how you can combine both, because not everyone's ready. Like maybe they want to put their toes in the pool or the pond, but they don't want to like jump in quite yet. So here's some solutions I have, some ideas if you are interested in this lifestyle and you want to kind of get started or even dive deeper. And wherever you are, just start. Like you don't have to be a permaculture design certified, like just watch a documentary if that's all you can do right now. Go volunteer on a farm if that's all you can do right now. Go tour a hemp tiny home tomorrow in Kingsbury, Texas to, feel inspired. There's all sorts of cool things happening already that are planned. You can piggyback on other projects and kind of learn from them. You can watch YouTube videos that even have tons of information about all of these ideas. And so there's like lots and lots of info out there already. And there's nothing holding you back from pursuing this lifestyle if you want to. In fact, when I started, I just went out and within like 1 week of looking, bought a RV, turned it into a glamper, and lived in my little tiny home RV for a few years so that I could save up and kind of get in a good place financially and be more stable and to live on the land. I didn't want to live in an apartment in downtown San Marcos anymore. I wanted to learn how to do gardening and stuff. Okay, so for virtual community, here's a few ideas. freedomcells.org. You could do Telegram groups. We have a new membership community with livefree.academy if you want to join that. Haven Earth has a membership program. So there's all sorts of options if you want to connect with people and kind of get the ball rolling. And then, of course, social media. I mean, just posting that pictures that you're here, and then your friends see it and they're like, what the heck is the Greater Reset? And it's about building community online as much as it is, visiting these intentional communities in person. So of course, then there's physical communities like what we've been talking about. And I really want to emphasize, since I only have a few minutes left, the events, festivals, and conferences element. Because just like we're here right now, like, didn't these 5 days go by really fast? Like, wouldn't it be cool if we could live this lifestyle all the time? just like every day. But until then, here's some cool events that are happening and are coming up. So if you join our newsletter for Live Free Academy, John sends out lots of emails, but I promise they're relevant to all these topics. Obviously, I really like homesteading and permaculture and intentional community, but he also talks about entrepreneurship, which all of this is relevant, cryptocurrency, that sort of thing. Anyhow, in this same venue, May 18th through the 22nd for 5 days, we'll be putting on the Exit and Build Land Summit. The first day and the last day will be actual property tours where we can go to these communities, check them out in person. And then we're going to have stellar talks for 3 days in between May 19th, 20th, 21st. So join our newsletter for Live Free Academy and we'll shoot over information with the speaker lineup and things after we've had a chance to catch our breath. Whew, because this event is amazing, but as you can probably understand, we've got some speakers lined up, but we still have some work to do for the Land Summit. But we'll have the website up with all those speakers, so be on the lookout for that probably in March or so. My friend Angel's here. She runs an incredible conference called Solar Punk Summit, and it's kind of like a festival hybrid. But anyway, I'm just throwing these out there so that you can see, like, it's not just the greater reset movement. Like, there's tons of festivals, tons of events, and not all of them are like blatantly like, screw the new world order. Like, in my opinion, if you're bringing new people to these ideas, the best way to do it is through art. It's through music and through festivals like this, because ultimately, like, you're living what your philosophy is and showing people like it can be done. And so anyway, like, Solar Punk Summit is a really cool event. And we actually went there and filmed all the talks, and we'll be releasing those soon as well through Live Free Academy. Because they just held one in October of 2022. But the next one I should mention is October 12th through the 18th. And so Angel is here if you want to chat with her about that. Otherwise, the website solarpunksummit.com. And, you know, just like this event is a hybrid model, I really do think that that's the way of the future. So can we live like this just all the time? Like, that would be so awesome. We went to Pork Fest, the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Bill was like, can we just stay? This was like 2 years ago. It's like, oh, yes, that would be great if we could. But like, if we design our lives in such a way, we can. I love this meme. Not all women just want flowers. Some women want 40-acre off-grid homestead with adequate sun and a creek and flowers. You can sell flowers too. But that's the idea. Like, you know, shift your priorities. And like Brad's talk earlier, like, if you crunch the numbers and get creative, like, you can do this. And you might even save money. So especially if you're buying land collectively with a bunch of friends. Okay, so I think a lot of people are doing this already. I mean, as we've heard today, like, isn't everyone talking about buying land with friends and growing their own food and starting a homeschool co-op and having their co-working there? And I mean, doesn't it seem like everyone's talking about this right now? So like, there's this concept called the 100th monkey effect. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. I'm running out of time. But basically, like, now that we've reached this precipice of like people wanting to do this, it's just like spreading like wildfire. So that being said, you know, everyone's vision of what utopia is different. So like, to say everyone has a different perception of what that looks like. And some would even argue that utopia is not possible to build. But like, we as a civilization, like, what's the best way that we can interact with nature, jive with nature, and live in harmony with nature and our brothers and sisters? You know, like, what the heck? Why is there so much conflict? What's going on? Like, we could have abundance if we chose to, but it's all about designing it and being the architects of our future. So what is it going to take to make that happen? And I think that you should, you know, definitely find partners, because without a clear plan of action and people to help do it on your own, but it'll just take a lot longer. And it won't be as much fun. So yes, so find partners. Like, it's go time. Let's do this. And that's what's so good at events like this, so we can find people to jam with. So I love this solar punk concept. If you've never heard of it, it's a vision of the future that embodies the best of what humanity can achieve: a post-scarcity, post-hierarchy, horizontal, post-capitalistic, instead of top-down, world where humanity sees itself as part of nature and clean energy replaces fossil fuels. I get so much shit for saying net zero energy. They're like, that's what the globalists say. But what I mean by that is, like, how much money are you spending every month on electricity? wouldn't it be cool if instead of your electricity bill, you were just paying for your solar panel loan, or better yet, if you could pay for it cash? And that's basically what John and I are doing right now. Instead of having to pay for gas in the Tesla, we just charge it up with our solar panels, and we have batteries to store the excess power. So just getting creative with like how we jam, and, you know, in turn, wouldn't it be great if it also benefited the environment? I mean, this is our home. Like, that should be the number one priority in everyone's lives, is being kind to Mother Earth and to one another. Yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of great articles, and there's a few that show photos of what the solar punk vision looks like. Just check it out. Like, if you see how beautiful it is, like, I think if we can just focus and like even do a vision board, like putting pictures of what it is we want to create in front of our face every day, then it kind of forces you to think about it. And then sooner than later, it goes from your mind to paper, then it comes to reality. So that's the idea there. But, you know, it takes a lot of unlearning. And transformation is often more about unlearning than learning. And we have all learned habits, and, you know, we've been deciding things every day. Oh, I'm going to go eat at McDonald's or whatever. Like, all these things that are not in alignment with our highest purpose. It's like voting with our dollar, changing our behavior, forming new healthy habits, and slowly but surely we can make that incremental change. So yeah, time to get off the grid, snowpocalypse. We had a horrifying situation in Texas about 2 years ago. Literally, the grid went down for like almost an entire week. But it just showed us how fragile the centralized systems are. And that is when John and I were like, okay, number one priority when we get our homestead, we're getting solar panels and batteries for storage, because never again, like never again. So just like really prioritizing, you know, what if you turned your faucet on in the bathroom and no water came out? You know, we don't really think about these things because we're just like so fortunate every day to have these resources. But like having rainwater collection, having a well, having backup systems, like 2 is 1, 1 is none philosophy. So manifest by writing down your goals. This is a list of all the things I was looking for when we were searching for our property. And like all of these came true except for I think 1 or 2. So like unfortunately, we didn't get the ag exemption. But other than that, going down the list, like I wrote this out months before we bought our property. And I would write them down on other sheets of paper too, just to keep it in my mind and keep thinking about it. So if you're writing down your goals, you're going to have a much higher probability of actually achieving your goals. And yeah, these are just some of the other goals that we had. And I'll end with this. We would like to invite all of you to join us on a journey to acquire 100 plus acres, build out an incredible model so that we can have residential mixed with commercial, educational campus, the whole shebang. Do it once, do it well, and then replicate the model all over the world. So that is the goal that I'm working on this year with a few other incredible partners. We started talking about this goal at Exit and Build Property Solutions in May of 2022. Since then, we haven't found the land, but we have found partners, and we have found the location that we want to do this. So just like identifying where to do this in Texas has been very interesting, because there's a lot of different options here. And we found through our partnership with River and Amani, an awesome city called Kingsbury. That area is designated as like a Liberty City. So I could go on and on about that too. And it's also on the San Marcos River. And it also happens to be where Solar Punk Summit is held. So see all these cool synergies. So anyway, you know, we have this vision to build these beautiful hemp homes and to even have a factory where we can do the hemp blocks and the production and supply jobs and educational media and educational workshops. We want to build a convention center like this on the property. We want to hold events there. We want to bring people together to learn, to co-create, to cultivate deep relationships with the land and one another. And we invite all of you to do it with us. This is a master plan rendering of what it could look like. And if you're interested, you are welcome to visit our website to keep in touch with us. My time is up. Thank you so much for listening. And yes, here's my contact info. Thank you all so much.
All right, give it up for Rebecca Bush. She's amazing. I'm a lucky guy. All right. If you do want to be a part of our effort to build this 100-acre regenerative project, you can check out exitandbuildpropertysolutions.com, exitandbuildpropertysolutions.com. I was just scrambling backstage to work with my team to get the URL redirected because we moved our servers. Exitandbuildpropertysolutions.com if you're interested in financially being a part of it, or if you're interested in potentially being a resident. Now, we'll have a long vetting process like Derek's doing with the Conscious Agora, but we have a really cool panel coming up. We're going to finish the day with a panel about intentional communities so we can learn what it really takes, the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the smiles and frowns, the screams and shouts. Well, pretty cool. Coming up. But before we do that, we're going to hear a couple sponsors.
Every aspect of our lives is connected to the internet, and this makes us vulnerable in ways we don't even realize. Big Tech and Big Brother are watching and recording everything you do online without your knowledge or consent, and they use this information against you. Every year, hackers and scammers steal billions of dollars from good people like you and me, and they will take every cent that you own if they can. Online privacy and security is the issue of our time. It is vital that you learn how to protect yourself. This is modern-day self-defense. Hi, my name is Glenn Meter, and I created the Privacy Action Plan with one core goal: to help the average non-techie person reclaim their online privacy and security in a way that is not overwhelming. We break each step down into bite-sized pieces. We explain why each step is important. We have a wonderful community. We have an A+ rating from the BBB, and we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Use the coupon code Greater Reset and receive a 40% discount on our lifetime membership. Thank you.
Are you tired of the rat race? Do you feel like you're stuck in a rut with no way out? Feel like the game is rigged? Let's break that paradigm. It's time to take control of your future and break out of the rut. With Autonomy Online Training Course, you can overcome the scarcity mindset, unlock your true potential, build executive and entrepreneurial skills, and learn how to be your own boss, all while growing your personal network. Take the next step in fortifying your intellectual self-defense and break free from the limitations of your current circumstances. Autonomy Online Training Course is the key to unlocking success and creating a better future for yourself. It's a rite of passage for the digital age that you've earned. To learn more and get started today, visit getautonomy.info. Take charge of your life and start your own business today. Again, visit getautonomy.info. Autonomy Online Training Course, your key to success.
All right. Welcome back, everybody.
Okay. All righty. Do you have your panelists up there? I see the chairs. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. We can't hear you there, Mr. Derek.
All right, Ramiro, I think I'm muted on the stream.
There he is. We can hear you now.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Welcome back, everybody. John, before we get into our last session here at the World Economic Forum 2023, wait, wrong meeting. Sorry, wrong one. We're the other
He's a funny guy.
I want to mention a couple announcements for the in-house here in Mexico. Somebody lost their phone, purple case. Very important.
I'll take it.
Very sad right now. If anybody finds it, please bring it to the ticket counter. Lost and found phone, purple case. I think it's as a Pixel 4a, I want to say. So just please bring that to them. Also, we have our friend Corey. Corey, you in here? There he is right there. Look at that. This gentleman printed out these papers, an independent newspaper, Liberty Uncensored. He's got more copies. You're going to want to check it out. Raise your hand if you might want to take these from Corey. He's going to walk through here, pass them out to you. Go ahead, brother. And I just wanted to make that clear. Another announcement at the end of the event outside, some people are trying to organize a giant circle coming together at the end. So join that if you'd like. And we encourage you to stay to the very end. We're about to do this amazing panel. The very end. Just want to say a big thank you and goodbye to everybody with all of our speakers and staff and everyone. So please stick around to the end, guys. We're so grateful to be here with you and so glad to have this panel. You guys ready, John?
Let me say real quick, I'm going to throw out a memo here. Yeah, we're going to invite all the speakers, all the staff, all the volunteers, everybody that's helped to make this event possible. We're going to bring them up on stage. And then afterwards, in the back room, we're going to do a real estate investment, intentional community, mastermind, and just stick around for that. But yeah, let's do this panel. Let's go for it. Let's bring them up. Come on, B.
All right, well, let's bring up Mario Gorin. We got Lydia and Arturo over here on our side in Mexico. I know we're going to have Brad and Rebecca and Ash coming together in Texas. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Coming back up here one more time. Can we get some more Luz, por favor?
Let's have
All right.
Rebecca in the middle.
Get you guys lit up in just a moment. And I think Becca's going to go ahead and lead this discussion. So if that's the case, after she just gave that amazing talk, give another round of applause for Rebecca Bush. John.
Rebecca. She nailed it.
There we go.
In the middle.
Cool. All right. We're going to have Becca take this conversation. I'm going to pass it off to you.
I have chocolate on my face. No, you're okay.
All right. Okay, go ahead and let everyone introduce themselves again.
Okay, well, I just introduced myself, so I will pass the mic to Ashley.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Ash Vitek. I live at Greenbrier Community School, and I'm really glad to be here.
And now I will pass the mic to Brad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brad. I currently live at Radical Roots Ranch, which is a community. And then other than that, for 5 years, I've been traveling.
All right, so we have the honor of closing out the entire activation. Oh, sorry, y'all. I just talked about virtual community. How rude of me to just jump right into the next section. All right, y'all, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Thank you. Sorry about that. My brain's a little frazzled.
Okay. Oh, hello there, everybody. I'm Lydia from Geophilia.
Hello, hello. My name is Arturo from Geophilia from Mexico. Hello, my name is Mariano Goren. I'm from Argentina originally, and I've been here talking about ARCA, self-sufficient villages. Hey, guys in the States.
Hey. So I think it would be cool to just hear everyone's opinion of like why they live in community and why they feel that it's a lifestyle that is beneficial for the soul, for physically, spiritually. Do we want to start off here in Texas? All right, hear it. We'll start off in Texas. Let's go with Ash first.
Why we live in community. So number one, as a parent, you know, I kind of like rushed through a lot of that today, but it is so amazing to be able to raise a child in a village. It really, truly is. We have, you know, we all have different parenting styles and whatnot. And that's such an amazing thing. I've had parents say, hey, you know, if you might have handled it this way, this might have received a different reaction. And it's helped us become better parents, more conscientious of those around us. And as somebody who wanted 10 kids at one time, we have 13. And then we get to send them home at the end of the day, which is also great. But for our family, growing a family in a community is just incredible. If a water pipe breaks or something happens, you know, we call up our neighbor, hey, by the way, this is a situation. Or our son's we call it the blood and guts person, but if we need to run to the grocery store or something, you know, he's got our neighbor that's right there, always available. And so it's really cool to not have to do everything alone.
Yeah, I remember when snowpocalypse happened in Texas 2 years ago. Being in community was a lifesaver. Being able to, hey, I like Maggie ran out of drinking water. Okay, let's go down and bring some jugs there. Or, oh my gosh, my pipes froze. Will you come over with a hair dryer and try to help me? You know, I mean, it was like really helpful to have communities, even in times of crisis, to not be alone, and in the good times. But I'll pass it over to Brad, and then we'll go to Mexico.
So I would say that I grew up on a small family farm. And so I knew I wanted to get back to farming and living on the land. But I also knew how much effort it takes to do that kind of work. And I was definitely not interested in doing it by myself. And so I just feel that being in a community, there's so many more folks that you can share all the chores with, as well as the benefits, right? So you guys can all share meals together and harvest together. And so I like working together in community. I think for me, that was probably the main reason.
All right, Mexico, do y'all just want to go down the line? Or if you feel inclined to share why you feel community is, why you chose to live in community, why you feel it's beneficial lifestyle?
Personally, I think living in community is not an easy thing to start with. I think it's like literally it can create like a vehicle or a cradle, if you like, for personal evolution. So if someone is not ready to really work inside themselves, it can be a really hard thing. And as everything else they were saying also in USA, it has all the difficulties and all the benefits as with everything else. So living in community is like living with your own mirrors. So everybody mirrors you around. They mirror you all the beautiful qualities you have. So it's easier to know yourself better. You can understand better yourself, what you're good at, and your qualities and your gifts and your mission. I think that's one of the most important things we're here for, to understand who we are, why we're here, what's our mission, what is our gift to the world. So I think it's like an amazing like cocoon that is created in a community to do that, if you're willing to do the work, obviously. And I really think that in community we can have these 5 levels that we were also talking about in our presentation. So you can work together in the vital level, you can work together in the physical level, share like practical things. Emotionally, you have a support for the things you want to do. You have like this greater embrace from people that are there for you. You have intellectual, more ideas and more things to share. So somebody knows something else, you know something else, and you put it all together and you get to know more things. And spiritually, I already mentioned about the soul mission and the evolution. So personally, I think these are things that are really important if you're really ready to do the work.
In my experience, living in community has completely changed myself because, as Lydia was saying, it's a box of mirrors. So everything, it's just gigantic mirror, which is amazing. Something that we have in Latin America is that we're very tribal. We live naturally in communities. Our indigenous cultures are community-based. Where we live near to Valle de Bravo, there is 100 families kind of village, and they all know each other. They live in a community. And something very important that we have understand is that community is the bonding, is either an emotional, physical, spiritual bonding. Other thing is to have an eco-village, which is like a physical construction, a place, a town, a little development, or a big development. And this community will completely transform you, but you have to be willing to do that. Otherwise, it can give you a lot of headache. It's really amazing. We would really invite you to do it. It's better to do it and make the mistake than not to do it. And nowadays, there is so much information. There is so many things that we can have around so we can avoid mistakes. We have made a lot of mistakes in our path. I have lived in different communities, in city communities, where everybody was living in their houses, but we have a very clear, specific path, and we were gathering many times a week. And I have lived also in eco-villages. And it's really, really great, but you have to be willing to be transformed.
Thank you. Yeah, why not? Let's clap. What I would say is a little bit of a rehearsal of what I said a few minutes ago, which is that for me, the most important thing is the like-minded individuals part of it. Because if you want to live with people that has really different customs and people that has totally different beliefs, that can bring more conflict and that can be really complicated. So what I would say is that for me, the key is to have this, take your time or invest your time to curate your network, take your time to meet the people, test the people. Don't be afraid of doing that. If we are going to, move forward in life and pass through these dark times, we need people that we can trust blindfolded. And I think that filtering people is very important for that. And I don't know if I answered the question, but here it is.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, you did. Okay, let's talk about the number one dilemma with intentional communities, in my opinion, from what I've experienced. But I'm just going to go out on a whim and say this is probably the same dilemma for almost all communities, and that's infighting and conflict resolution. So I'll pass it off to you, Ash, and any advice you can give newly formed communities or folks who are interested in living in community, what to avoid and how to have healthy communication and to help when there are problems inevitably that arise, what to do to solve them and to not hurt everyone's feelings or get it to a point where people feel like they need to leave and the whole thing falls apart.
No pressure. No pressure. Well, so conflict is a really real part of community living. In our community, we are very diverse, different walks of life, different belief systems. I've had some pretty good sized conflicts, you know, with other community members. And what I've learned through this is it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay. It's okay to show up as yourself. And even if your whole world is falling apart, these are people, even though you may be in conflict, they will hold that space for you. Not avoiding it. That was something I did in the beginning, where I would avoid going because I was worried about people pleasing or whatever that looked like. And what our friends in Mexico were talking about, it is a giant mirror for everything. I mean, you may have this feeling, well, I don't like this about this person or this person harmed me in this way. But what you're seeing too is these are things that you have within yourself as well. And so I have to say that is the biggest thing that I've learned is that reflection. And it's okay to sit with that and chew on that and come back to that person and say, okay, this is what's going on here. This is how I feel about the situation. And 9 times out of 10, and something we even use with our students, our conflict resolution cards, we tend to, as human beings, think that or make an assumption that we think how the other person is thinking when it could be completely different. They might not have had breakfast that morning, you know, and they might be hungry or, you know, what that looks like. And then in those conflict resolution cards, we also have like needs cards. This is what I'm needing from the situation right now. And I think going through nonviolent communication training, or what I like to call compassionate communication training, going through learning about conflict resolution is a really the biggest part, I think, about living in community.
Well, in our community, we are all perfect and we don't have infighting. So I'm just kidding. All right, I'll pass it off to, right in my dreams. No. Actually, though, I don't think we've ever had a big conflict on our community, but I'll pass it off to Brad and would like for him to share about conflict resolution and kind of working through that and his experiences. And then we'll pass it off to Mexico.
So I would say that living in a community, it's kind of a mix of like a relationship and a small business, just in the kind of interpersonal communication. So I think it's definitely valuable if people have defined roles and you know whose roles are what, and that way it just clears up a lot of miscommunication, you know, exactly who to go for a certain issue. And then additionally, just communication is so important. And I think not just communication when, you know, crap hits the fan, but just regular like check-ins, meetings, you know, what's going on, keeping people up to date. I think just over communication really helps keep things smooth and prevent conflicts.
All right, Mexico, what do you got?
Thank you. So
Let's
okay.
go.
So for conflict resolution, what I would say, honestly, is always inside you, right? Like things that you don't like of other people is because there's something that you don't like about yourself. So I would go with what has been said so far. And the only thing that I would like to add is that related to what Brad said just recently, is when I discussed with my girlfriend about things, we think about things as projects, right? Like we are trying to come together to actually get something out of this situation. So basically, if you get people that is in the same frequency in this sense, that wants to collaborate to achieve a common goal, it's a lot easier, to set aside your selfishness, or in my case, selfishness, and work together towards a shared goal. So for me, that would be the key. Thanks.
Well, for me, conflict resolution, I will not say something new that they have already said, but in my experience is the internal work. Like the first relation you do, it's you with yourself. And then you with your partner, and then you with your family, and eventually you with the community. So if you don't do a lot of work internally, it can be difficult because it magnifies a lot. And if you remember in the presentation, we were talking about this fractality and this torus. Remember we said about the torus? So what I have lived in communities is that this torus is faster. So everything is faster. Let's say you have a problem, and then if you're living alone, or you can kind of isolate and hide, and then the problem will not arise. You can hide it and no problem. But when you're in a community, they are there. You cannot hide. They are going to push you so you can transform that. And if you're not willing to do that transformation, you will get tired. You will get tired. That's one. And the other thing, I think it has to do with this clarity. If things are clear since the beginning, or they're willing to change and adjust, things can go easily. And in my experience also, I have lived that sometimes people are not looking for community. They're actually looking for a house or a co-housing or a real estate investment, or kind of having some friends around. That's different. So there are many books. You can just go online and search for them. There are many books that have all the details about these different levels. And some of them, let's say, some people are actually looking for deep bonding, spiritual, emotional bondings. So you have to be able to search what people are looking for. And that's the way you can create a very good core center group with high quality, because that's super, super important.
Well, thank you, Arturito, for stealing what I was going to say. That's when you are married to your soulmate. It's like, yeah. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to share is that exact word is clarity, guys. In my opinion, in my experience, first of all, you have to know yourself and what you want and what you're looking for. Otherwise, you will end up in a place where you don't want to be, and you will have a bad experience. The same goes for the part of the community. Like when you are forming a community, you have to be very crystal clear on your values, on what is the important things. For example, for us in the community we're creating, it's important that people come there with a goal to be on their mission and be of service and know themselves and evolve, okay? Not all communities have that. Every community has, and that's amazing because we're not all the same. So every community, and I have visited different, they're in different levels, right? Some are in the level of the heart, they're in different levels, and they all express a part of what we call humanity, and that's amazing. So you need to know where you're at in your community and what is important for you. So clarity is everything, and that's like how the universe works. If you want to manifest anything in your life, you have to know exactly what you want. Be very crystal clear, okay? So that's the first thing I wanted to mention. Clarity, clarity, clarity in all levels. Go down to details. If you're looking for a community, write down your vision. Write down your ideal day. How do you imagine waking up in that community? What happens there? How are the people? Do you have common activities, right? If you're creating a community, do the same. Write down your vision. And a little tip on that, write it as if it's already done, okay? Don't write, I want that. I'm living there, I woke up there, and this is what happened, okay? This is a tip. It's really amazing. So in the universe, nothing works without
Okay,
clarity.
great. Oh, she's so. Oh, okay. So I want to just pass the mic down to our Texas folks and then open it up to our friends in Mexico to share their big piece of advice, either on what to do for community or what not to do for intentional community. Okay.
I would say, just do it. If you're at all interested, if it sounds like something you want to be a part of, just, sample it, try it out, see if you like it.
Yep, that's really good advice. You don't know until you try. Yeah.
I've gotten to talk to a couple people outside of this room, and there have been people that have shared stories. Well, hey, this is where we're at in our journey, and in life, there's not necessarily a safety net. You just have to jump and know that wherever you're at in your path is exactly where you need to be. It's exactly the space, and you just have to make a choice and say, you know what, I'm going to do this today, and I'm just going to do it. And yeah, it's scary, but it's kind of like getting up on stage in front of a whole bunch of people. You survive. You'll be all right.
You more than survive. You thrive. All right, y'all. What do you think, friends in Mexico?
Okay, what to do and what not to do? Well, something that I wanted to add earlier, and I know it was already mentioned, is I could not put more emphasis on violent communications, guys. It's something we should first learn when we're 3 or 4 or 5 or at school, or if any school, like healthy school is there. But it's impossible to relate to other people. What is nonviolent communication? If you've never heard of it, it's not just being nonviolent. I can tell you my own experience reading Marshall Rosenberg's book. I could really recommend you that you read it. It's called The Language of the Heart. Yeah. This book changed my life. I can tell you I considered myself a pretty super low violent person. But when I read it, I realized that when I was saying something that had a hidden message, and I was not shouting or being angry, this was a level of aggression that I was not aware of. So there are many levels of violence. So for me, it's number one priority to learn how to relate and express your needs, and putting the responsibility on you and expressing your needs with nonviolence. So if you want to be part of any community or create one, start with that. That's the most important thing to do. And what to do also is be unique, be yourself. Be in the community and just express your talents and your gifts and your personal note and your personal colors.
What to do and not to do? Oof. Just do it. Yeah, exactly. At least you will have feedback of then what not to do. I would really encourage you to do something, because we cannot wait for another coronavirus age. This coronavirus thing, then they will have the CBDC controller money thing. Actually, it was very amazing because Lydia, she's from Greece, and many years ago, like 8 years ago, the government was wanting, from Germany, they were wanting to do nasty things as usual, but people were resisting to it. They were really against it. And you know what they did? The government, they just froze their money. They closed their banks. They have done that in many countries all over around the world. But what I'm trying to tell you is that now we have Monero, we have Bitcoin, we have cryptocurrencies, so we can actually, if they close the banks, we can still operate, because at some point, that's what they're trying to do. They will keep pushing fear. But we're in the love side. We don't care what they're going to do. Like, we're in the other side. And we're creating these things. So it's better to have something that it may not perfectly work, but at least you have a little off-grid house or a little community somewhere, or you're related to something else. Because as Derek and John was saying, these guys are coming for the money because that's the last resource we have. But we have our own money, so we have crypto, we have, like all these cryptocurrencies, and we can still function without that. And I really encourage you to do it. Like, just feel whatever you want, but just go and do it.
All right, I will be very, very brief here. I would say that the most important thing is to do some shadow work. Yeah.
because it's what we've been saying the whole event. Basically, the people that is going to be there is going to reflect your own demons. The situations are going to reflect your own demons always. So without shadow work and without the people around you having this shadow work, it's very difficult to get along, I would say, and to achieve things at the end. That would be it. Thanks.
Awesome. Ernie Hancock says the 3 questions to ask are, what can I not do? What can I do? And if we have conflict or when we have conflict, how will we handle it? I think that's a nice starting point anyway for community, but we could have done hours talking about this topic. So I appreciate everyone consolidating everything and just shooting everyone straight with those nuggets of wisdom. So thanks everyone. And is that the last second there? You said to wrap up this question.
That was
Did you have a question? Oh.
No question. But they'll be sticking around afterwards. I got
Make some noise for our presenters in Texas and Mexico.
All right, give it up for our friends in Mexico and the speakers here in Texas.
All right. At this
Thank
point,
you.
I want to invite all of the speakers, all of our staff, all of our volunteers to come up on stage with us in Mexico and Texas. We'd get everybody up here with us.
Hey, yeah, we're going to bring up all the
Amazing
volunteers.
people who came here to share their knowledge with you. If you're
All
a
the
speaker
speakers that are still here.
please come up here. If you're one of our volunteers,
And all the sponsors.
all of our artists, come up on stage, everybody. Let's show them the love that we're all building together, that we are co-creating together. This is co-creation. We're gonna get to see the whole team from Texas as well in just a moment. Everybody, come on up. All of our artists, and I gotta say thank you to my mom, my brother, Miriam's mom. They've been volunteering. You guys been seeing them out there. Thank you for showing them love, welcoming into our community. This is all very new to them. And I want to say, while John gets his people together, just how amazing this has been for me. Hey, let's pull everybody over just a little bit this way. Let's get some more on this side. That I was able to fly down my mother, my brother, Miriam's mom came down, one of my best friends and his wives to show them what we're building. And they've just had an amazing time. So thank you guys for showing them a good time and for treating them well. And yeah,
nice
look at these beautiful people. Yes, Ramiro. Where's Miriam? Where's Miriam? ¿Dónde está Miriam?
Let's all squeeze in.
we'll wait
Look
for
at
the
the
rest
camera to
of
make
our
sure we're all
people.
there.
Looks like Texas is getting
All right, look at that bunch you guys got there. What a bunch of beautiful freedom people there.
Miriam's
Wow.
getting this.
Of
How
course,
y'all
we got
feeling?
internet issues, so we're all blurry like a freaking Picasso painting. Picasso? Which one's Monet?
Well, we're glad to have you guys
Anyway, you
together.
know
We're
what I'm
so
talking
grateful to all of our speakers, all of the artists, our vendors, our staff, the volunteers, the people here who ran the lights and the sound and everything. Guys, we couldn't do this without all of you. Please give a big, there we go. There. Come here. Thank you, everybody, for making this happen. John, we love you guys over there. And we know that together we're doing something special, and it means a lot to work with you guys.
We love you, Derek, Miriam. Thank you, everybody. Ramiro, this was absolutely incredible. We're so grateful to be a part of this incredible community we're building, this incredible world we're building. And we want to thank everybody in the audience for joining us.
Absolutely. Guys, we're doing it. We are creating the better world for future generations. We are going to create our own 2030 and beyond. Let's make some noise. We're exiting and building. We're building a better world. Thank you, everybody at home. We'll see you soon. Data Reset 4, we're out of here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
All right. Derek, I think you wanted to reveal the theme for next year. You want to go ahead and let the people what they can let them know what they can expect for Co-Creation 5?
Yes, John.
Greater Reset 5.
The Greater Reset 5 coming January 2024. The Greater Reset 5 manifestation coming to you next year. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye, everybody. Peace and freedom.
We're not just talking about it, we're building it. Thank you guys for being with
Get up
us.
here.
We're out of here.
Bye, everybody. Peace. Love you, D. Adios. Adios. This is sweet.
Oh, Eric is coming. One more. We're done.
We have announcements. Do not go anywhere. You got some product placement in there? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, how are you? We had another speaker that was like really nervous and then just nailed it. Just like you. Okay, all right. We have a couple announcements. So we are going to start day 6 today. We got about 6 hours left in the event. All right, look at them. Okay. All right, we are going to, are we still streaming? We are still streaming. Philip, end the stream, end the stream. Peace, everybody.